and very engaging program. But we want to invoke the blessing of Divine Mother, Jagat Janani, before we begin the show. And I feel very honored and fortunate to sing a few lines of Devi Stuti from Durga Saptashati. But I don't want to do this alone. As I chant, please call out to her from the bottom of your hearts and beseech her to bless us all. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Vishnu Mayeti Shabdita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shraddharupena Sanstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Chaya Rupena Sanstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Jagan Mahe Jagajanani Jagan Mahe Jagajanani Jai Jagadambe Devi Bhavani Devi Saraswati Durga Lakshmi Devi Saraswati Durga Lakshmi Mahishasura Samharini Mata Mahishasura Samharini Mata Jagan Mahe Jagajanani Jagajanani. So now that we have invoked the blessings of Divine Mother, good afternoon, everyone. Bhagwan Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita has defined Karma Yoga, or the yoga of action, as one of the hallmarks of growth, both in the material and spiritual world. HinduACTion has thus come into being to support and actively work towards the cause of dharma, or righteousness, for the well-being and benefit of fellow Americans. I
क्या
am
सुन रहे
Antani,
हैं?
and I welcome you to this first gala event of HinduACTion. I will be hosting the event today. The topic for the gala today is American Hindu Engagement in Society and Nation Building. We are very fortunate to be gathered here to unite and show how we can actively engage ourselves within the social fabric, and as all Americans contribute towards the building of a great and diverse America that is all-inclusive. And now we go to our program. I'm excited to share this video on HinduACTion, which will provide an overview of our
क्या सुन
project
रहे हैं?
and a few
क्या सुन रहे हैं आप?
successes that we have been able to add to our list.
It's already started.
I'm waiting for it.
HinduACTion is an independent non-profit organization dedicated to filling gaps in the American Hindu identity space that remain unaddressed or are under-addressed. For example, HinduACTion is the only American Hindu nonprofit that is active in Washington, D.C. at this time on a daily basis. Our teams are active in strategically important states like Arizona, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, and Maryland, where there is major Hindu representation, but where bigger Hindu advocacy has less presence. Our vision is to see a pluralistic society through education, advocacy, and leadership. We strive to harness the strengths of Hindu ethos and civilizational experiences, and to promote an inclusive and pluralistic America that advocates and defends those values globally. The American Hindu community showcases an incredible tapestry of differences, encompassing not only cultural and linguistic variations from the Indian subcontinent, but also diverse ethnic, racial backgrounds of practicing Hindus from the Caribbean, East Asia, Indo-Pacific, and those with European ancestry. Yet, despite the presence of 2 to 3 major Hindu organizations, our reach extends to a mere 3 to 5% of the American Hindu population, leaving a staggering 95% still untapped. This lack of engagement was evidenced during the California caste legislations, where only a fraction, around 5% of the Hindus in this country comprehended the gravity of the situation at hand. Despite being the wealthiest religious minority in the United States, we find ourselves lacking in resources and preparedness to effectively address the ever-growing threats facing our community. Instead of being proactive, we often find ourselves reacting to each new fault line and the opening of fronts against Hindus months later, leaving us to battle fires that have already scorched us. Sadly, by the time we fully grasp the situation, the next attack on Hindus is already looming on the horizon. It's time for us to change this cycle and to fortify our defenses. HinduACTion has made it a priority to produce research and analyze anti-Hindu groups in America, especially those that maintain close relations to pan-Islamist organizations and violent Maoist groups. Often, these organizations have covert links to state agencies that consider India and the United States to be their geopolitical enemies. To provide just one example, how many people knew that it was a single family of Pakistani American origin between 3 generations that was directly involved in the 1971 Bangladesh genocide, the Kashmiri separatist activism in the US, the Dismantle Hindutva Conference, anti-CAA protests, and the discredited caste survey presented by Equality Labs that is the basis of material for anti-Hindu caste laws throughout states, cities, and campuses across North America. Yes, all of this was achieved by Humadar of the University of California, her father Bashar Uddin, and her daughter Natasha. And there are many such individuals and groups operating on anti-Hindu activism full-time. We observe this trend of interventions on most issues dating back the past 15 years. Therefore, we have chosen to address issues that hold immense humanitarian significance, aiming not only to highlight their critical nature, but also to shed light on those who propagate anti-Hindu hatred. HinduACTion's Save Our Daughters of Sindh team members have worked on creating awareness and actionable outcomes to highlight the plight of the brutalized religious minorities of Pakistan for over a decade. Over the past 3 months, Anjali Swamy, our dedicated chapter lead in Arizona, fearlessly addressed the city council in Tempe, shedding light on the plight of minority women in Pakistan. Renu Gupta from Ohio followed suit, amplifying their voices. Our mission? to cultivate grassroots awareness and empower the average American to become a powerful advocate for these girls. The average American can become the voice for these girls, and that will have a much bigger impact, she explained. After campaigns by groups like ours, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Rishi Sunak, sanctioned the Borchundi Sharif Seminary and its owner, Mian Mittu, a testament to the power of our campaigns. Hopefully, our voices can one day ensure that every dollar of the billions that are given as aid to Pakistan is made conditional upon the safety of its religious minorities. Our dedicated team members played a pivotal role in initiating and spearheading the groundbreaking 1971 Genocide Resolution, which commenced in November 2020. This landmark effort culminated with the introduction of the bipartisan House Resolution 1430 in Congress in October of 2022. Collaborating with over 30 national organizations, we successfully brought forth the first pro-Hindu resolution on Capitol Hill in 8 years. Now, our focus remains unwavering as we diligently work towards reintroducing this significant resolution in the 118th Congress of 2023. Together, we are committed to driving positive change and advocating for justice. HinduACTion acknowledges the immense work being done by the talented and dedicated teams from the Hindu America Foundation and Kona. We take pride in working with all major Hindu organizations across the country. And we do not hesitate to speak up for and find alliances with Armenians, Yazidis, Afghan Hazaras, and Jewish advocacy groups.
So that was a brief highlight of some of our projects and focus points. Now, I am honored to introduce Niraj Antani, a member of the Republican Party. He is actually a senator representing the 6th district in the Ohio State Senate. He served 3 terms as representative for the 42nd District of Ohio House of Representatives. He's a member of the Republican Party, by the way. Antani was born and raised in Miami Township. He currently lives in Miamisburg, Ohio. Niraj went to Ohio State University and earned his bachelor's degree in political science. Niraj Antani is a proud Hindu. Niraj is planning to bring a resolution in the Senate to declare October as Hindu Heritage Month. Please welcome Niraj Antani.
Well, thank you, Anjali, and thank you, Ranu Auntie, and everybody here at HinduACTion for having me. Very excited to join you. My name is Niraj Antani. I serve as a state senator in the Ohio Senate, and I'm proud to be the first Hindu and Indian American state senator in Ohio history and the youngest Hindu and Indian American elected official in the nation's history. HinduACTion and this launch is incredibly important, and let me tell you why. Yes, it is true that I am a Hindu elected official, and I am proud to be a Hindu elected official. However, we have so-called Hindu elected officials across the country who, when it comes time to stand up for our community, do not. And we cannot just rely on them to stand up for our community. And we know all of the issues that we're facing. We know what happened in Seattle with the discriminatory resolution. We know what's happening in California with the discriminatory resolution. We know what is happening in New York with the Gandhi Memorial and also temple being vandalized. Hindu phobia is running rampant across the country. We know that just not a year and a half ago, they held the very anti-Hindu DGH conference, of which I was the only elected official in the country to condemn. And thus, we see this rise in hatred towards our community, and it must be stopped. We cannot let the other side win. In order for our temples to continue to be vibrant, in order for our people to be able to continue to practice Hinduism in this country, we have to stand up. And what that means is the founding of organizations like HinduACTion. Let me tell you a number. A Pew Research poll every 5 years takes attitudes of Americans on different religions. And they say, how well known is this religion and how well liked is this religion? And as you can imagine, Christianity is universally known and nearly universally well thought of. Judaism is significantly well known and significantly well thought of. Islam is significantly known, but significantly not thought of well. Hinduism is the least known religion of all, and Americans have a neutral opinion towards us. Well, that can be good because we can have Americans have a positive attitude towards Hinduism, or it can be disastrous and they can develop a bad opinion of us. And that is what we have to fight. And that fight is on Capitol Hill. That fight is throughout the federal government. It is through state capitol buildings, but it's also at city halls and in public libraries and on TV and in the media. And so all of these things, no matter the sector of society, whether it is government or media and television or anything else in entertainment, it matters of how Hindus are presented and what we look like in these different forums and mediums. And on college campuses, we've seen the fight of what is occurring on college campuses. And so groups like HinduACTion, who are truly grassroots, there are not a lot of us in America, but there are enough to make a difference. There are enough to sway opinion makers, whether they are government officials or the media, and make a difference that way. And so I'm very excited about the launch of HinduACTion, and I commend all of the founders, and I'm very excited to work with them for the benefit of Hindus throughout America. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Niraj, for that fabulous speech. Now, I would like to invite Manan Rawal from Bharat TV and Bharat FM to speak a few words.
नमस्कार, मैं मनन रावल हूँ and I am from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I closely work with all HSS, HinduACTion, HinduPet everywhere. And my motto is to get everybody together in one umbrella where we can just talk about only Hinduism and our country, that is Bharat. I tried through various ways, but it didn't came through. So we started our company called Bharat Media, and in that we have Bharat FM, Bharat TV, which is pretty soon going to be a national TV channel within 3 to 4 months. And we have our own newspaper, that is Bharat Media Daily. So these are the three verticals that works under the Bharat Media, and we are solely and concentrating only for the Hindu cause and our country, that is Bharat. If you have anything to let us know to produce or need some more attention to be that, just send all the details. My email address and Anjali is there, so you can send the Anjali Swami also. And we will try to broadcast as much as we can possible and make a buzz in the market. As an Indian and a Hindu, we don't have enough voice in the market, but we need to see that we should be having that. And that is the only reason that I got for this Bharat Media. I have nothing much to say. Thank you. Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you so much, Manan Bhai, for the immense support Bharat TV and Bharat FM has offered to HinduACTion and to the cause of Dharma. And I can attest for that because I do work with Manan Bhai and he is awesome. So our next guest needs no introduction. He is a pioneer in research on civilizations, a scholar in Vedic social sciences and mind sciences. He is an author and speaker on contemporary issues like spirituality and science. He is the founder of the non-profit organization Infinity Foundation, which provides grants for research, education, and helps India and Indic values find a voice in today's dialogue of globalization. His books are immensely valuable. His recent books are Snakes in the Ganga, The Power of Future Machines, Varna, Jati, Caste, and the 10 Heads of Ravan, to name a few. He is the one and only Rajiv Malhotra.
I want to thank you for inviting me to this important event. You know, Hindus globally are in need of organizations, networking with like-minded people, and those like you who take the initiative, bringing scholars together, activists together, are doing yeoman service. I want to encourage all our young people to study hard our issues, come from a position of strength and knowledge and authenticity, not emotions, and not just sort of hit below the belt, but really be very clear and fair in your evaluation. And once you are sure of this, and you have Bhagwan in your mind, and you are doing this not as for your own sake, but as karma for a cause, for the dharma, then go all out. Be very courageous and not be worried about anything. So with that, I congratulate you for this event. I wish you all the best. I wish I could be there myself, but I am not able to attend because of logistic reasons. But I send you my love and my blessings. All the best. Jai Shri Ram.
To advocacy in USA, friends. When I look at the eyes of my children and grandchildren, I see a spark of hope and bright future there. But then I question to myself, how long this spark will remain in the eyes of our grandchildren? Are we first generation Hindu immigrants able to keep up our Hindu identity? Are we strong enough to face and respond to any attack and hate towards us? I hope our children and grandchildren and beyond who are American Hindus would feel safe and confident to call themselves Hindus and will be able to carry out our traditions. Parents, think about this. Well, we need HinduACTion to fulfill our dream. Please support HinduACTion now. No donation is a small donation. Just go to hindu-action.org and donate. All our donations are tax exempted. Thank you.
Anjali Ji, I think you're muted.
Oh, I'm so sorry. There you are. These things happen. So, audience, this is my wonderful co-host Adele Nazarian, and the video that you just saw, that was Renu Ji, the chairwoman of HinduACTion. And I would now like to introduce Adele. And Adele, do you want me to introduce you, or would you like to introduce yourself?
Totally. Thank you so much. I'll make the introduction. It's so wonderful to be here with you and everyone. Thank you, Anjali Ji, for being an amazing co-host. And I am the Director of Legislative Outreach and Communications for HinduACTion. And now I am very pleased to introduce Vivek Chaturvedi, an executive board member of HinduACTion. Vivek Chaturvedi is a multinational executive assisting healthcare organizations in transforming their finance functions. Born in a family that belongs to the Mathura region in India, Vivek drives his belief in Krishna and Hindu Dharma as a way of life and not just a religion. Now I would like to turn your attention to the grassroots education for the American Hindu voter presentation by Vivek Ji.
Thank you, Adele. So at HinduACTion, we are working at grassroots for educating our Hindu American community, bringing them the knowledge to make them aware of the issues we all and the Hindu Dharma encounters from various aspects across the US and across the world. I'll be speaking about a few of them as we move forward, but our endeavor is to educate, bring power, and because knowledge is power, if we have the knowledge, if our Hindu American community has the power and the knowledge, we can address those issues at the grassroots level. We have started addressing them as HinduACTion on talking to our city councils, our state meetings, and educating our lawmakers on these issues and getting help from our lawmakers to bring these issues to a solution that is rightful. One of our key initiatives that you would hear more as we progress forward is saving our lost daughters in Sindh. These are our Hindu daughters at very young age who are abducted, trafficked, forced, converted into a different religion of Muslims. And our chapter lead, Anjali Swami, our panelist today, and Renu Gupta, as you saw in our intro video, has spoken in their respective city councils. We need more engagement. We need engagement from all of our fellow Hindu American community members to bring these to their city councils. It's very important that we educate at the grassroots level from our city councils and way up to let these Hindu girls have a voice. Let these Hindu girls continue to follow a religion that they want to follow, that is their choice to follow, that is their right to follow. We need your participation at every level to make this happen. Our youths have been engaged at various levels, including researching on the internet on how there are various hate peddling groups and anti-India and anti-Hindu groups building their narrative, building their funds, building their networks to get together to fight against and bring Hinduism down. And there have been enough efforts from our youth on that side. We'll continue to do that. We need engagement from our educated youth and to continue to do that. The next of our concepts in HinduACTion is securing the youth of America. How we intend to do that is by harnessing the power of STEM, bringing them meditation and yoga, building that mental and physical health, wellness, and focusing on our lower income communities across the America to help them build their profiles for college applications, bring them education that they deserve. And we are in conversations with similar like-minded organizations where we would work together with our youths, our undergraduate, college-going Hindu youth members who could bring these to, younger generation who need to grow up on STEM knowledge, to grow up on meditation and yoga, utilize the power that brings it in their overall lifestyle and in their understanding of the religion of our communities and help support us. And at the end, I'll ask you to donate to hindu-action.org. Go to this link, very much needed. Every penny counts, every dollar counts, and your generous donation will help us achieve our objectives and help us go 1,000 miles together across. Thank you. Back to you, Anjali and Adele.
Thank you so much, Vivek Ji. That was such an awesome presentation. So now we have Tejas Manjunath and Pranav Manjunath's performance. Tejas and Pranav, they both are well versed in the local music tradition. They were born in Boston. They began training in the violin in the United States until a few years ago when their family moved to Bengaluru. At Boston, they got exposed to world music. This includes Indian music, Hindustani, Carnatic, and various dance forms. Their repertoire includes Carnatic and Western classical compositions. It includes Kannada songs, Bollywood, Western pop, and a combination of various styles. They have performed in more than 100 music concerts. I'm delighted to invite Pranav to share a few words. Welcome, Pranav. How are you?
Namaskaram. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm doing well, thank you. Again, namaskaram to everyone. My name is Pranav Manjunath, and I'm currently a PhD student at Duke University and the younger of the Boston brothers. We are a violin duo trained in Indian classical Carnatic violin. My brother Tejas was unable to join us today due to his travel. He finished his master's at Georgia Tech and now is currently doing his MBA at UT Austin and while working at Harman International. While growing up in Boston, my brother Tejas and I were exposed to a plethora of Indian culture and started to learn Indian classical music at a very young age. And being introduced to this wonderful art form at a young age was probably the best experience my parents could have ever given Tejas and I. We had the honor and privilege to host legends in the field of music at our homes. Their aura, memories, and blessings will always remain a special place in our hearts. Learning Indian classical music, a 6,000-year-old art form, made us appreciate, love, and strengthened our connection to our culture, tradition, and roots. This was one of the main reasons why our move back to India was so enriching. We received further guidance and tutelage from the top and the best of teachers. We started to perform extensively all over the world. And we were actually being known and recognized for our talents in music all over. And that was such a proud moment and an honor for us to actually experience that feeling. And one of the best of experiences was being able to travel with top musicians, being the friendships that we actually formed, being able to just share our music to a wide range of audiences and diverse audiences was just truly a blessing. And it honestly made us help understand our culture much better. No matter where we are, what we are, and where we are from, the one thing that resonated with us was that we are all one. And this was what my culture, my tradition, and my dharma taught us. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Now, music, which started off as just a mere hobby, has become an inseparable part of our lives. And I'm truly grateful to my parents for introducing us to this scholarly tradition. We recommend the youth of our country to start learning and practicing Indian cultures and traditions. Help us in sharing all this wonderful knowledge to more generations to come and to everyone. Thank you so much, HinduACTion, for this wonderful opportunity. And I'm so delighted that we could give a chance to share our music and thoughts to you all. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Anjali.
What a talent and what an outstanding performance. Everyone, please give them a big round of applause wherever you are. So now I will introduce Pandit Satish Sharma, who is a fellow of the Royal Society of Arts, holding a BSc, MBCS, FRSA, and he's the General Secretary of the National Council of Hindu Temples UK, and also chair of the British Board of Hindu Scholars. Sophistic has been awarded the title of Dharma Samrukshak, or custodian of Dharma, and authorized to speak on the 6 versions of Indian philosophy by the Council of Hindu Swamis and Saints in Rishikesh. Recently, Satish ji has been at the forefront championing Hindu causes. Please welcome Pandit Satish Sharma. Namaste, Pandit ji. So delighted to have you here. It's our honor. It's a great honor to have you here.
Pranam ji, namaskaram, and Jai Devi, Jai Shakti. We're moving from the divine and the sublime to the discordant. After having listened to such a beautiful contribution, you now have the opportunity to inflict my inability to sing or to offer anything musical upon the gathered audience. My family say to me, Papa, please don't sing. You have the unique talent of taking any song and making it sound as though you're speaking in a gurdwara, somewhere I spend a lot of time. So firstly, just thank you so much to those incredible young men and for sharing their musical talents with us. Good evening to everybody from London. It's an absolute pleasure here. And first, I'd like to offer my congratulations to the HinduACTion team. You know, I've been following your evolution and development, and it really is a pleasure to see that you've managed to get to this stage and are ready to take the next leap forward. And right at the beginning of my little contribution, I would invite the audience, empty your pockets, donate generously, and please don't be shy. There's no need to stick to small, measly amounts. The majority of the audience are American, and we all know how large the hearts and the wallets of the American public are. So please live up to that reputation. HinduACTion, it's such a timely initiative. I'd like to make a small contribution. I'd like to remind everybody in the audience of the incredible underestimated power of small people doing small things. I'm going to share a tiny story with you in the short 5 minutes that I'm going to occupy. You know, in 2012, a young Hindu junior politician was visiting the chief minister in Gujarat, and in a casual conversation with the chief minister, it was discovered that there was a travel ban, that there was a visa ban in operation, and it had been placed by the British. This young lady came back to Great Britain and with the rest of the trade delegation mentioned it to David Cameron's government, and we discovered that the perennial youth icon figure in the Hindu political space had been partly responsible for putting this visa ban on the movement of the chief minister. David Cameron's government removed it, and that opened the journey, it opened the pathway for the chief minister of Gujarat in 2012 to then be able to move to New Delhi. 2014, 2 years later, we had a new prime minister, and the dramatic changes that have happened since then are there for everybody to see. A small action doing the right thing by a relatively small person in her estimation, and look at what has happened to Bharat. She and her little contribution were responsible in some small way for unleashing the renaissance of the Bharatiya civilization. And so my message to everybody who's watching is, please don't think that you're too small to make any difference. That's not the case. You can't underestimate the power, the cumulative power of lots of small people doing small things. You know, in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna Ji says to us, he says, yours is to do little actions and leave the outcome to me. So it's an entirely Hindu thing for every person watching to do something or to support somebody who's doing something. This is vitally important. The power of small people doing small things. The second thing I'd like to say is, this is a global Kurukshetra. There is no single nation where your actions are confined to your own local activities anymore. And I've just returned from 2 weeks in the San Francisco Bay Area, where I was sharing with some of our Sanatani family there the experience that we in the United Kingdom went through when those people who use victimhood for the purposes of extortion, masquerading as caste activists, inflicted the caste libel on the Bharatiya community here in the United Kingdom, and how we came together to, shall we say, dismantle it, to understand what the problem was, and then to respond to it in a political space. And so I have just literally returned from San Francisco. There is no individual small location. There is only one Kurukshetra. It is global. We have no choice wherever we are except to engage in this issue. And so I would encourage everybody to do something. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna Ji also says, Yatha ichchasi tatha kuru, which is, whatever it is, please do something. It doesn't matter. Whatever your inner driver says to you that you should do, follow your instinct, go ahead and do something. I know that was a wonderful, wonderful Mahavakya almost, which was pinched by a chappal manufacturer later on when they said, just do it. Krishnji said it first. So please, again, to the audience, I would implore you, please just go ahead and do it. The last point I would make is, please recognize that although we're a collaborative civilization, we are awakening into a world which is at best competitive and at worst adversarial. And in a competitive and an adversarial world, jo jeeta wohi Shivaji. So we have to be successful in this space so that we can teach them about the true essence of collaboration, which is our Sanatani inheritance, it's our tradition, it's our heritage, and it's our unique gift. And so please, everybody, step forward, join in, support HinduACTion in any way, shape, or form that you can, but most importantly, give them lots and lots of money. And so I would like to give my best wishes to HinduACTion. I'm looking forward to being a part of your work, and I'm looking forward to helping, support, and wherever necessary, if requested, to offer guidance and anything else that we have over here in the United Kingdom. This is a Dharma Yudh, and I would just remind everybody, Yudh mein bhi anand hai. So please, Jai Shri Ram to everyone. Go ahead, and HinduACTion, best of luck to you. Jai Devi, Jai Shakti. Om.
Thank you so much, Panditji, for your encouraging words and the beautiful speech. We are blessed to have you here amongst us. Thank you once again. And now, I would like to introduce to you Mohan Sapru, a Hindu Kashmiri. Mohan Sapru is the Washington, D.C. coordinator for Global Kashmiri Pandit Diaspora, GKPD, a scientist in his personal life. Dr. Sapru is a passionate voice for his community. He and his family's life experiences were integrated in the popular movie Kashmir Files. Welcome, Mohanji. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much, and thank you all who are listening. As was mentioned, I have the professional hazard of being a neuroscientist by profession. That's why I would say mind and thoughts matter, ideologies matter, engagements matter, indifference matters. Like all our scriptures start with a question, I just want to start here a question for you all. Have you ever thought that the Hindu American community here in the US is making a leading contribution in the field of science, technology, business, education, almost every aspect of life? Yet, when it comes to the voice of Hindus, it's hardly heard. It's hardly spoken. It's not audible. Why? We have to be honest that majority of us are not involved enough, are not engaged enough, are not articulate enough. And the reason I mention that here especially is that being myself a victim of Islamic terrorism and genocide in Kashmir, I know what price do Hindus pay when they don't engage, when they're silent, when they're not articulate enough, or when they think politics is for others, not for me. And taking lessons from what history can teach, all I can tell all my friends, brothers and sisters, all my Hindu brethren here, that we need to engage. And one way to engage for us is to really support in a big way or in a little way, whichever way we can, HinduACTion, because they're putting a lot of thought in every aspect of what we need to do, whether it's advocacy, whether it's being on the road, having demonstrations, or whether it's strategic planning, all of that. And we need to have voice for that. The problem for us is all that we are scattered in our voting bank. We don't really matter for a lot of people. And we don't matter because we have assumed we don't matter. But we can be a force to reckon with if we really unite. And the reason I think it's a dharma for us all, because we belong to the eternal dharma called Sanatana Dharma. And in every age, there's a challenge. And in today's age, I think most of us agree that terrorism, genocide, ethnic cleansing, and religious bigotry are the biggest scars on the conscience of humanity. If we don't fight for it now, when shall we then do it? If we don't do it, who else will do it? So that will be my appeal to you all, that please join in. We have a long way to go, but we have to tell the world, we have to tell the US that Sanatana Dharma is something pristine, not because we think we are great, but because we accept all, but we'll be also articulating, defending, and not letting our children be ridiculed in schools or our religion being put in a bad shape or being spoken about in a way which is not truthful. Thank you. Namaskar.
I just thank you so much, Mohanji, for that very powerful and stirring story. We are grateful to you for everything that you do, for being so courageous and for being truly a source of inspiration for all of us here and for everyone who's watching. And I just want to take a moment now and thank several of the generous donors for giving to Hindu Action, Arun and Renu Gupta, Usha Mahajan, Anil Kumar Monolita, Mitra Sanjeev Gopal. I also want to go ahead and just thank all of you for being so wonderful and generous in terms of supporting what we're doing here. And I am now honored to introduce to everyone Divya Jain. Divya Jain is from Michigan. She is a Hindu Community Relations Council board member and a Hindu rights activist for the last 3 years. Divya, we're so looking forward now to seeing your Hindu phobia and awareness presentation.
Thank you so much, Adil. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Hindu Action, for giving me the opportunity to speak. It's definitely a big opportunity to be here. So I was in a program where my daughter was performing. It was a Guru Vandana program organized by Hindu Swayamsevak Sangha. And I was looking at the faces, I was looking at people sitting there, thinking to myself that what is it? Is it what attracts people towards Hinduism? At the same time, what gives them an opportunity, or why do they actually want to go against it or want to say something bad about Hindus? Is it really the Hindu phobia, or is it Hindu-mesia, which is hatred towards Hindus? Because looking at the people who are dressed nicely, who are praying for the world, who are praying for the wisdom, inner peace, outer peace, peace everywhere, and all of our prayers which are meant to bring higher spiritual enlightenment and to raise our consciousness altogether. So what is it? Is it really that people are afraid of us? I really don't think so. I kind of disagree with that. But I personally, I think that it is Hindu-mesia. People are, they don't want to see spiritual upliftment, the enlightenment that Hindu Dharma or Sanatan Dharma provides to them. So on this first slide, I have Hindu phobia, which is normalized by what kind of terms? Not just pagan and heathen, but Hindu fascist, cow-pissed drinker, Hindu nationalist, BJP IT cell worker, Sanghi, gobar eater, and whatnot. So these are the terms that are being used towards us. And I can tell that, unfortunately, fortunately, I was taken away from Sanatan Dharma and kind of lured into different faith, but fortunate enough to come back. Now, not everybody is as fortunate as I was to make a comeback, to be able to realize the difference that how the other side wants to treat us or what has been taught to them. So these are very popular colonized views of Sanatan Dharma, that people look at us with that particular lens. And there is a need, and that is why HinduACTion is an action. So that the Hindu phobia, Hindu misnomers, whatever Hindu media is going around, that needs to be clarified. And people need to get a new perception about Hindus. So I have a couple of misunderstandings, or how are we being misunderstood. So we have our customs misunderstood. For example, I'm wearing a bindi right now. I'm wearing a bindi because this is Agya Chakra, one of the 7 chakras in body, and it helps in focusing, increasing your perception and intuition while doing asanas and meditation. And that is why the bindi is being put here, to consecrate that energy. But that is being misunderstood. People say that, oh, you have a red dot here. That's all mean to them, basically. They don't go beyond the red dot. Our deities are being insulted. Whatnot, monkey god, elephant god. Why do you do deity worships? That is a very big question for the people who do not do it. Hindus are portrayed as invaders, to be said that they came as Aryan invaders in India and they came from outside. We have been mocked for cow reverence forever now. Symbols is one of the things that, because Hinduism is an ancient culture, ancient civilization, it has a lot of symbols in it. And every symbol pretty much has a meaning, a very deep meaning, which connects you to the divine. Very classic example is swastika. Now, the Nazis have Heckenkreuz, which is a clockwise cross and tilted at a right angle. That is not same as swastika. But swastika has been misunderstood and taken as Heckenkreuz, and both of them got mixed together. The other side could not understand the importance of swastika being coming from the ancient civilizations, and it was misappropriated. The other misappropriations are in terms of yoga, not being Hindu, meditation, pranayama, not coming from Hindu civilization. So the credit has never been given to us. And my favorite, or everybody's favorite in the world right now, is caste. Are we casteist? Are we not? What is Varna? Did the caste word come from our civilization, our scriptures, Hindu scriptures? No, it is not. And Satish Sharma ji is here, who has written a good book on caste. So I recommend that everybody should read it. And they need to develop, so basically Hindus themselves need to develop an understanding of what Varna and Jati Vyavastha is in the Hindu society and according to Hindu scriptures. And then only we can put up a good fight against when we are being targeted for being casteist, for being discriminatory in the name of caste. These are few people who love us. In all honesty, they don't, but justice for all, CAG, IAMC, and USCIRF. So these are our beloved lovers, and we don't hate them and we don't love them. We have very neutral reaction. But when it comes to fight for our rights and the injustice that is being done to us, it is very important that we do that. And that is what at HinduACTion we are trying to do, and all other Hindu advocacy organizations that we are working with. We are grateful that we have a voice now in form of HinduACTion, in form of Gora, in form of HF and others. So let's keep strengthening our voice, and let's try to just fight the justice with our good understanding based on scriptures, based on our dharma. And as Bhagwan Krishna has said, that you have to fight dharma rakshati rakshita, right? So on that note, I end this conversation and thank you for the opportunity. Dhanyawad. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Divya ji. That was a very, very informative and important presentation that you just gave. I just want to take a second before we go to our next guest, which is a treat for everyone, to just say, if you have any questions, please go ahead and drop them into our Q&A section here. We'll be getting to those questions and answering them at the end of our program. Now, I am pleased to introduce you to Ritvik Jandyala. He is a passionate guitar player. Ritvik plays all genres, including Western rock and Carnatic classical. He is a high school senior and a very dedicated member of Bharat Heritage Organization's Youth Wing. Now, I present to you Ritvik.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ritvik Jandyala. I'm a rising senior at Basic Scottsdale. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. And just a couple things about me is that I'd say what I'm probably most known for on guitar is playing Carnatic on Western instruments. So typically, Carnatic is usually played on very traditional Indian classical instruments, be it the veena or mridangam, or just other percussion instruments in general, guttams, right? But you never really see Carnatic music being played on sort of Western instruments, right? So I feel like this is where I bring something new to the table, where I'm playing Carnatic on a guitar, which only a handful of people in the world can do. So I like to start off today's program by playing Mahaganapatim, and then after that doing Shrivali, Dil Chahta Hai, and then finally ending off with Jai Ho. So let's do it.
Ritvik. Oh, go ahead.
What a great performance, Ritvik. Namaste, everyone. Hope you're all enjoying the gala and our distinguished panel of speakers. In recent times, there has been a rise in Hinduphobia, and we cannot and should not sit back and watch. Whether it is the deceptively named anti-caste resolution in California or Hinduphobic conferences like Dismantling Global Hindutva, which was held in various major universities across the US. There has been discrimination against Hindu students on college campuses and verbal attacks against Hindu identifying politicians. Now is the time to unite, join hands, and act together to fight and stop Hinduphobia. Please support HinduACTion by donating so more work can be done at ground level to protect our identity, values, and our children's future. No amount is too small, and your donation will help make a difference. Please visit hindu-action.org to make your tax-exempt donation. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Rupalji and Ritvik. One more time, fantastic performance. So, viewers, who has not heard of the unparalleled Tarek Fatah ji? Unfortunately, a few weeks back, he left all of us for his heavenly abode, but we have his dear daughter, Natasha Fateh, with us today. Natasha ji.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you all. Thanks for mentioning that Tarek is my dad, because I thought I'd have to explain to everybody why a Muslim Canadian who's not an activist is joining this group. But I am here to speak on behalf of my father and the values he instilled in us. And I'm so moved by this gathering, and it's really hard to follow Ritvik. You know, doesn't he seem like a brown prince? Everybody remember Prince? Like he really has that swagger. So Ritvik and Anjali, when you were singing, and the Boston Brothers when they were playing, like that is our contribution to the global community. You know, we are talking about Hinduphobia. We're talking about picking on Desi kids at school, specifically Hindu Desi kids. But in the midst of all that, let us not forget this incredible contribution of the Indus civilization, this vast, vast Indian Hindustani civilization, and how proud we must be of it. You know, I mentioned—
I'm so sorry to interrupt,
Yes.
but I have to, you know why? Sorry, my throat is, it's just my feelings, because I did speak to Tarek ji, you know, a few months back. I just couldn't stop myself, and this is something which is just coming out of my heart. It's not a part of the script, but I have to just tell you, he was such a fantastic person, and he also encouraged me when I spoke to him at that time, and he was very encouraging and so loving. I just don't have words. And before I brought you here, I just want to tell the viewers one more time, Natasha ji, she is a Toronto-based journalist herself, you know, with the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and with an interest in the international politics and human rights, just like her dad, you know, like father, like daughter. So Natasha ji, I know we really want to listen to you, but for 30 seconds, if it's okay, we'd just like to keep a half a minute silence for Tarek Fatah ji, and we want to pray to God to give Shanti, peace to the departed soul. Om Bhur Bhava Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Oh my gosh, Anjali, why? Yeah, tomorrow, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Tomorrow will be 4 weeks since my dad passed away, and he's just a remarkable human being. And it's very hard to talk about him in the past tense, but in a way, he symbolizes so much of what this is about: the Indian greatness, the Hindu civilization, what we as a people have given the entire planet cannot be talked about in the past tense. And, you know, sorry, I've just become so verklempt. But let me say this about being a Desi who recognizes that my indigenous culture, my indigenous identity is that of being a Hindu, and that some people from abroad came and colonized us and we converted to Islam. And I am a practicing Muslim and I have no issue with that. And I simultaneously don't have an issue with acknowledging that, of course, I'm a Hindu. I can't be who and what I am. I can't speak Hindi and Gujarati and Punjabi without acknowledging where I actually come from. And that's the thing. It's the lack of understanding, I think, for so many people about what happened to us. So many people are aware of British colonialism on the South Asian subcontinent, but that's nothing compared to 900 years of Islamic colonization on Hindu culture and forced conversions and the destruction of so much of our indigenous identity. For me, this is not about making Muslims the enemy. That's not at all my area of interest, and I don't find that productive in any way. I'm not suggesting anyone here does. But it has to be acknowledged. And I find it deeply troubling that so many of us who are Muslim of South Asian background say that our ancestry goes back to the Turks or the Persians or Central Asians, and it's just not the case. So there's something deeply embedded in us that makes us ashamed of our ethnic indigenous Indian identity. And so we need to fix that. It's like Black Americans who've been brought over, who speak English, who came over not by their choice, but now are Christian and are Americans, and to say that their ethnic identity does not link back directly to the African continent. It just doesn't make sense. And that link for Indian Muslims has not been made. We belong to a certain identity. So I would ask you all, I cannot be an activist because I am a reporter. And I'm not like my father in that my father had very strong political points of view and he fought for them. My responsibility is to ask questions and offer clarity where I can. And I hope that that offers a degree of clarity for you all, where the people who seem most like you, Urdu and Hindi speaking, people who eat the same food, people who come from the same countries, and yet they seem like they're the angriest at the Hindu community. We just don't know where we come from. And in that comes a huge identity crisis, I believe. So the thing with India and Hindus, I think, is that, and like with all of us, our greatest strength is often our greatest undoing. So if you're an incredibly compassionate person, you're so good to other people, but you absorb all their pain as well, right? So that's an example. And I think India and Hinduism's greatest strength is that it's like the ocean, it just absorbs. The Turks come, the Persians come, the Ethiopians, the Portuguese, throw some British in there. They all, the Jews who've been outcast, come, one and all. And you think you're going to take over and you're going to change India, but no, India and Hinduism envelops you and you become one. The only country where the indigenous faith of Persia, Zoroastrianism, is practiced is in India, right? So what does that tell you about Indian identity? But that same passivity, that same inclusivity has made, I think, people very quiet about their stories. So be proud of who you are, be proud of who we are, and share that. So much about success in our identities and our advocacy has to do with storytelling. So who are we as a people? What do we value? And Anjali, I think it was you at the beginning that was talking about the dharmic, the goodness for all Indian kind, all Hindu kind, but really it's for all humanity. Who else gets to say that our goal as a people is the goodness of all humanity, is peace for all humanity, not by a sword, not through war, just gentle, peaceful, passive faith and goodness. And that is our greatest contribution to the world. So Jai Hind, Hindustan Zindabad, Tarek Fatah Zindabad, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Natasha ji. I have to say this, that Tarek Fatah ji will never be a past tense. Your father, Tarek Fatah ji, he has been immortalized and will remain as a reverential figure in our hearts always. So now I'm going to welcome Vibhuti Jha. He is an astute media analyst, a thought leader. He was the Republican candidate for District 16 in the New York State Assembly, an investment banker by profession. His has been a powerful and thoughtful voice for the American Hindu community. Please welcome Vibhuti Jha.
Namaste, viewers. It is a great honor and privilege to talk to you today on the platform of HinduACTion. I love the word action because everything depends on action. You know, Swami Vivekananda had given a call to all Hindus several years ago. Arise, awaken, and assert, to which I added, most humbly, Vibhuti Jha's fourth A, and that is called ACT. So I always urge Hindus to arise, awaken, assert, and act. To that end, I'm extremely delighted that my friend Utsav Chakravarti and the committed band of people have started HinduACTion. This is the much needed moment in our life, in America and everywhere in the world. Because what is important is not knowing everything. What is important is knowing what we know, what are we going to do about it? That's the important key element, a siksha, a education that we have received in Bhagavad Gita as well. It's always the action, karma is very critical. So Hindus right now, all over America, are under an attack, cooked up, manufactured, and bogus. Knowing what we know now, what is going on, if we don't arise and act, then we are indulging in a self-defeating exercise. Merely hoping for things to happen doesn't happen. What one has to do is to prepare yourself to act. Remember one thing, it's very critical. I've been living away from home for many years. I know one thing for sure. Our identity, your identity, our identity is key. I am Vibhuti, I am not Vibhutai. That's the important part. I have corrected American friends of mine and companies that I have worked with, is to teach them how to pronounce the. Unless and until we tell them about ourselves, why would they know about it? This is a vital education I received from my American boss in American Express in India, who told me, it doesn't matter what you do. If I don't know it, it doesn't matter. Think about it. It's very important. If we are not able to carry our narrative forward, it doesn't matter. Nobody has time to get to know you. It's for us. It's not about beating the drum or blowing your trumpet. It's about asserting and letting people know who I am. This is who I am. Today, in this century, in this particular century, we must bear one thing in mind. Science and technology is supporting us because our faith, our belief is absolutely universal in nature. It is absolutely universal in nature. It's not based on fear and ignorance. It's based on knowledge and knowing, seeking to know. But if we do not reach out that message to others, they will never know us. So I applaud HinduACTion to have taken this bold step to become an action-oriented enterprise. And to that end, this is something which is, I'm very peeved with that. When I find that many other organizations are able to raise money, somewhere along the line, we Hindus are always hesitant in writing a check. There are many millionaires who write $1 million checks for endowments to universities and colleges. But you tell them to donate something for the Hindu cause, and they fight shy, as if it is a badge of dishonor to commit some funds, because money makes the world go round and money is required for everything that happens. So I congratulate Utsav, I congratulate HinduACTion and the entire team for taking this initiative. My humble request to everybody is, let's support the cause. Whether it's $1 or $1 million, doesn't matter. Every penny counts. I want to thank you for inviting me, Utsavji, to share my thoughts. And I want to thank all of you for all being part of this. And I'm delighted to be part of this initiative. Thank you very much. Let's go win. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vibhuti Ji, for that telling speech. And I really like the part when you said that you are Vibhuti, not Vibhutai. And I've had a similar experience when I am addressed as Anhali, not Anjali. So I want to say I'm Anjali, not Anhali. Anyhow, thank you, Vibhuti Jha, one more time. And we have next Priya Saha. Priya Ji, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
I just want you in the frame.
Thank you for
Okay,
giving
there you
the
go.
opportunity. And HinduACTion doing a great work. And I am I'm a person who is working together.
Yeah.
Utsav and I working together around 3 years or more on a simple cause that, in 1971.
So Priya Ji, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but before you start with your speech, I do want to say a couple of sentences about you, because you're doing such an awesome job. And so you deserve a nice introduction, if that is okay with you. So Priya Saha, she is the Executive Director of Human Rights Congress for Bangladesh Minorities, a victim of 1971 genocide herself, an asylee in the US for her brave position on Hindu rights. Priya Ji has been a tireless voice for the religious minorities in Bangladesh in Washington, D.C. over the past 5 years. So please welcome Priya Ji, and now the floor is all yours.
So namaste. It's a great opportunity to talk in this first fundraising gala of HinduACTion. I'm a human rights activist working more than 35 years in the area, and Utsav and I working together to get recognition Bangladesh genocide 1971. You may know that in 1971, the Pakistani army and the Islamist collaborator of Bangladesh, they together murdered 3 million people, raped 400,000 girls and women, and displaced 10 million people to India, and Hindu community lost all movable property. In 1971, before the partition, Hindu community has more than 80% of the land of the Bangladesh. Now it's come down, you can say less than 20%. And population was during the partition into 29.7%. Now it's come down less than 8%. So you can understand what's going on Hindu community in Bangladesh. So we are working to get the recognition of Bangladesh genocide. This is genocide, the largest unrecognized genocide in the world. So why people did not recognize it, we did not know that. And we want to share own thing, the Human Rights Congress for Bangladesh Minority and HinduACTion working together. And last year, we introduced our resolution 1430 in Congress, is a bipartisan way. And this year, we are working together to get reintroduce this resolution. So if we get the recognition of this resolution, what will happen, I need to share a little. The Pakistan, at that time in 1971, there was 195 war criminal. At present, not present, a few months ago, the Imran Khan, the Prime Minister, the cabinet, there was a cabinet minister who was a war criminal in 1971. Is still this genocide going on across the world, and Pakistan is the country who was sending the terrorists across the world. So we need to make them accountable, and HinduACTion doing a great job. And what is the advantage of the HinduACTion? The main strength, their main strength is their they have a big office in Washington DC, and they have a good connection with congressperson, and have a good strategy and knowledge, so they can work to change the policy. I need a little bit more time. As a human rights activist in Bangladesh, I have changed 9 policy, and on policy you can say just one. The Dalit people, they do not have any training or education, many more opportunity. Through our ministry, Youth Affairs Ministry, they got 4% quota free of cost, so they can get that training and strengthen their life in Bangladesh. More than 8 million Hindus are belong to the Dalit and the scheduled caste community. So you can understand a simple policy, a 3-line minister order, how many people get the opportunity. Yes, we are donating to make a doctor or an engineer. I'm not against any of them, but just I want to share one thing. A doctor, he is working for his family in terms of well-being, financial well-being. Yeah, he is serving for the world, that's I agree. But if you think he is working for his family, maximum his or her in-laws family or his or her kids, that's it. But a human rights organization or a human rights activist, he or she or this organization working for the whole community, for the whole world. If we can change a policy, if we can get recognized the Bangladesh genocide 1971, so you can understand how much the Pakistani, this terrorist group, going to pay, and how they are going to, how they are going to be see their face as a terrorist organization, as a genocide committed country, and they will be accountable, and they will face a lot of financial and social and all terms. They're going to face a lot, but there is no any other work that can make them Pakistan such a great, not great, you can say, make them accountable in that way. So human rights works, what they can do, this organization, they can change the policy, and this policy impact everyone, all world. So human rights works is more needed. We do not have organization. We need more and more organization, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you think in the other ways, across the world, the soft power is human rights work. In Bangladesh, there was no people, working in Bangladesh. There is not a single organization in the name of minority. But you can see in India, there is 1,000 organization in the name of minority. And the same people, they are majority in Bangladesh. We have a ministry that called Religious Affairs Ministry. So all budget for majority people. There is not a single minority people working in Religious Affairs Ministry in Bangladesh. At the same time, when they are minority, they are getting extra benefit in India. They have a Minority Affairs Ministry, and they are getting many more funding through this ministry. So as a majority, they are getting opportunity. As a minority, they are getting opportunity. Why? Because they are organized, they are working, they have a lot of movement, and they are they are imam, and they are organization, they are organized, and we need to do that. So please, my appeal to all of you, as HinduACTion is capable and interested, and they have the strategy to work, uphold the human right. So help them as many way as you can. And without your contribution, how are we gonna get this, genocide resolution reintroduced in US Congress, and how we can gonna pass this resolution. And I want to thank Adil. She is such a great woman. She is helping us all the way she can. When she is not in country, going abroad, also from there, she is helping us. So please, please, help as much as you can to the HinduACTion, because without your support, without your knowledge, without your money, without your assistance, we cannot go forward. So as a Bangladeshi human rights activist, as an executive director of Human Rights Congress for Bangladesh Minority, and as I have the experience, how can we change the law and policy? So policy will make us stronger. So please help HinduACTion. So we will work together and we will see a lot of positive sense. Thank you so much.
Priya ji, thank you so much for everything that you do, and God bless you. You're such a strong woman and such a symbol of strength and perseverance. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing the 1971 resolution recognizing the Bangladesh genocide officially taking place in the halls of Congress and throughout the world. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
I would now, I'm honored now to introduce everyone here to Utsav Chakrabarti. An architect by profession, Utsav Chakrabarti has been presenting the case of Hindu and indigenous communities to thought leaders in Washington, D.C. for more than 18 years. As a keen Washington Beltway Trends observer, his works have been presented to lawmakers on Capitol Hill and to representatives of the Human Rights Commission. Utsav's awareness on intersectional socio-political movements and religions stems from his learning from the history of architecture, the built environment and its impact on humankind, nation building, and civilization. He is also the executive director of HinduACTion. Now, Utsav will present on the 1971 Bangladesh genocide.
Thank you, everybody, and namaste. First, I would like to congratulate Niraj, who spoke in the beginning. And he has done an amazing job for bringing the Hinduphobia resolution in Ohio. For anybody who is observing what is happening in politics in the United States, it is amazing for a politician or a political leader to achieve this. So congratulations to Niraj. Thank you once again on behalf of HinduACTion. And it is my privilege and honor to be the executive director and work with an amazing team of people, as you can see here today. I'm going to quickly breeze through this effort that we have been doing, and we succeeded last year in bringing the resolution. Unfortunately, the Congress is over, so we have to reintroduce it, and we want to do it again, hopefully soon. The resolution is, it's the first time that that in the U.S. Congress would be honoring the victims of the genocide that happened in 1971, the largest unrecognized genocide of the 20th century. And more importantly, what is critical is that it is not just the resolution that refers to the victims, 3 million victims in Bangladesh from that period 52 years ago. What is critical is that the people who committed these acts are actually very active in the United States today, and who are actually part of the movement that is spreading Hinduphobia across the country. So just to give you an example, all of you here, I'm pretty sure, are very animated and very upset about the caste resolution that has been floating around the country. And as we noted in the beginning, the person who actually made the fake survey, the discredited survey on behalf of Equality Labs, is the granddaughter of a Pakistani military brigadier who was directly involved in the genocide, Natasha Dar. So if many of you who have in the past brought up this to me, to my attention, that why are we doing something that happened 52 years ago? It's not just an event that happened 52 years ago. It is something that is happening now. Those who spread Hinduphobia across the US are involved in this genocide as well. It's the next generation of those people. Just to give you another example, the largest anti-Hindu activism in America is promoted by this organization called Islamic Circle of North America, ICNA. And it's one of its leaders in New York was directly accused of committing the genocide. And ICNA actually awarded an award to respected Motiur Rahman Nizami. That's a picture of the award I have showed you, who was directly involved in the genocide. So it is important that if you want to deal with those who are spreading Hinduphobia, deal with them with facts and truth, and that's why we are working on this. I'm going to leave it at that and request everybody to generously support us because, as you all know, we all have to feed ourselves and our families. Anjali, you are muted.
I'm really sorry about that. I am now honored to introduce presidential candidate and keynote speaker Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek Ramaswamy is a New York Times bestselling author and a successful entrepreneur who has founded multiple successful enterprises. He is a first-generation American and the founder and executive chairman of Raven Sciences, a new type of biopharmaceutical company focused on the application of technology to drug development. He has authored numerous articles and op-eds which have appeared in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, National Review, Newsweek, and the Harvard Business Review. So all of you, please put your hands together for Vivek Ramaswamy.
Thank you, and namaste and namaskaram to everybody. I wanted to thank Renu Gupta, known to me as Renu Auntie, for actually connecting me with the group, and it's good to be back. I've spoken to you all before, but it's good to talk to you now in a new capacity. I just wanted to share with you a number of reflections that will have, I think, very little to do with partisan politics. This is not the place for that. I'll follow up with many of you regarding the specifics of my political journey and hope to pursue the presidency, but that's not what we're talking about today. What I'll talk to you about is a part of my message that relates to rediscovering purpose, rediscovering our sense of meaning and purpose and identity as Americans and as individuals, and a big part of what my own Hindu faith has taught me in giving me my own sense of personal purpose. And one of the values that I think is important to all of us as Americans, which I'll be the focus of my remarks, which is the revival of merit in our culture. So we'll take about 10 to 15 minutes, and I look forward to following up with many of you offline so we can have longer conversations outside of today. What I see in the landscape today is a group of people my age and younger in America. And by the way, I'm 37 years old. I'm the first millennial ever to run for US president as a Republican. And what I see amongst people my age, really every age in this country, is that we're hungry for a cause. We're hungry for purpose and meaning and identity at a point in our national history as Americans when the things that used to fill that void of purpose, faith, patriotism, hard work, family, these things have disappeared. When these things disappear, that leaves a black hole, a vacuum in its wake. And it's when you have a vacuum that runs that deep that poison begins to fill the void. It almost doesn't matter what the poison is. Pick your favorite one. That's what fills the void. We suffer an epidemic of anxiety and depression, a mental health epidemic in this country, hungering to be part of something bigger than ourselves, yet we can't even answer who we really are. What I used actually spoke to a Christian audience at a church in Iowa recently, and I'll share with you what I shared with them. What I see in the American landscape today is a bunch of us that are flying around lost in some cave like a bunch of blind bats. How does a bat figure out where it is? It can't see, it doesn't have eyes. So it sends out sonar signals and it bounces off something that is fixed, and then that bounces back and tells the bat, this is where I am. I think we human beings do the same thing. We send out these signals and they bounce off things that are true, things that are fixed. They bounce back and tell us this is where I am. Say my family, the two parents who brought me into this world, the children who I brought into this world, they're real. That's true. That means something to me. That bounces back and tells me this is where I am. My belief in God, that is true. That faith is real. That means something to me. That bounces back and tells me this is where I am. I send out a signal. It bounces off of my conviction in this nation, that I'm a citizen of this nation, that means something to me. That bounces back and it tells me this is where I am. That I work hard. I create something in the world that I'm truly proud of as an individual. Send out that signal. It bounces back and tells me this is where I am. What happens when those things disappear? The individual, faith in God, family, belief in the nation. What happens when these things disappear? We send out these signals and then nothing comes back. And that's why we're lost in that abyss. And so we latch on to new identities, group identity, our genetic identities, our tribal identities, our hunger for finding causes that we want to believe in that are secular or civil rights causes that we latch onto. Well, what happens then when we reach the promised land of civil rights? What happens when we have true equality before the law? What happens when we've staved off what we worried about in the 1970s in this country? If you look at the cover of Time magazine or Newsweek magazine in the 1970s, there was actually a real concern about climate change. If we didn't stop using fossil fuels, we were going to have a global ice age. Time magazine, Newsweek magazine covers had picture of a global ice age, global freezing. But what happens when you stave that off? You arrive at the next concern. So I think these are just symptoms of our deeper hunger for purpose and meaning. And the question for us is, how do we satisfy that hunger with something more meaningful that dilutes the poison, whatever the poison is? How does it dilute that poison to irrelevance? I think, speaking in the American context, an important value for me is the revival of the American ideals themselves. And those are ideals that I know many of us on this call share in common. Myself, I was born to two parents who came to this country. I know there are people on this call who made that same journey as my parents, traveling oceans to become part of the United States of America. That takes courage. And I think there's a reason why many of you came here. There's a reason why my parents came here. This is a country that's built on certain ideals, such as the pursuit of merit, meritocracy, the pursuit of excellence, that means something. Maybe even if we're being really honest about it, recognizing that for many people who choose to come to America from India, that India, though it could have been that place, maybe can still be that place, wasn't so perfect in allowing people to get into college or get a job based on truly meritocratic criteria. So they come to other places like the United States where we thought we could do that. But what I worry about, and I say this now as somebody who's lived the full arc of the American dream here on American soil, is I worry that America may soon have to learn some of those same lessons through the anti-meritocratic policies that we're now creating in American cultural life. What is merit, you might ask? It's a question I often get because I talk about the importance of restoring merit, the importance of putting merit back into America. A funny thing actually about America's root word, not a lot of people know this. America was derived, it was named after Amerigo Vespucci. He was the explorer who first discovered the American soil long before Christopher Columbus did. And his name was derived from a word called Amalric, from his grandfather, whose name was Amalric. And Amalric means, Rick means master, Amal means work. So at the root of America was actually the master of work. I know that speaks to many of us, first generation Americans and immigrants who come here who value hard work. So when I talk about putting the merit back into America, what does merit mean? To me, it means that it's a system when anybody can reach the fullest of their God-given potential without any other human being or man-made system getting in their way of achieving that potential. Through hard work, through commitment, through dedication, through God-given gifts, different as those God-given gifts may be in each of us, Meritocracy is the system where each of us is fully free to achieve the maximum of our God-given potential, whatever that might be, without any human being and any human-made system standing in our way. Well, I think that today we live in a country, in America, that was the best possible version of that story. Yet it's right when we reach the promised land that we start to make the same mistakes that caused us to escape from an unmeritocratic system that we might have had in the past, creating new race-based quota systems in America that say that, you know what, you don't just get ahead on the content of your character, but that the color of your skin matters too. Mistakes that I think America would do well to learn from even places like India, that to say that just because you've made mistakes in the past doesn't mean that you fix those mistakes by making the same mistakes in reverse or in another direction all over again, but rather to value each person as an individual, not as some member of a tectonic plate of group identity, whatever that group identity may be, but to say that you are you. There will only ever be one you. You're not riding some tectonic plate of group identity. You're endowed by your creator, by God, with your own innate potential, that there will only be one you, and with your own free will, with your own freedom, with your own dedication, that you can achieve anything you ever want in the world with your own hard work, your own commitment, and your own dedication. That's what we call the American dream. It's what I think so many of us have lived. It's what I've had the honor and good fortune of living in my life as well. And I hope that that is what many of us as first-generation Americans and immigrants can play a role in helping restore in this country as well. And the number one criticism that I hear of this view, and it's a fair one, is that nations like America, America in particular, is imperfect. America is flawed. It is hypocritical. How could a nation founded on slavery talk about, they will say, I don't believe it was founded on slavery, but founded on slavery, now preach about the virtues of meritocracy without rectifying those past injustices? It's an interesting claim. It's worth contending with. It's true that our founding fathers in America who wrote the Constitution were imperfect human beings. Many of them talked about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness while owning slaves. But there's something interesting you'll see for certain. Can you hear me? Oh, sure. Good. I'll just, wrap this up and we'll continue the dialogue soon. There's something interesting, though, that I wanted to point out about something that a select number of nations around the world share in common. America's one of them, but India's on the list too. Israel's on that list too. Countries that are consistently accused of being hypocritical. And there's something interesting I find as a common thread that I draw through the countries that are most accused of being hypocritical. They're also the nations that actually were the closest to living up to their ideals at all. And isn't that interesting? So what I think about in the American context, and I think this every bit applies to India, I think there's a version of it that applies to Israel too, is our worst hypocrisies, our worst failures, the fact that America had systemic racism in the form of slavery back at its founding, the fact that India, even at its founding, was imperfect in treating all of its citizens equally. That fact is actually the best evidence that we have ideals at all. Because in order to be called a hypocrite, at least you had to have the ideals in the first place. Go with me for a thought experiment. Try me. I'll stand by and wait if somebody wants to give me an example, but I don't think I could find an example if I tried, and I have, of finding somebody who would complain about the Chinese Communist Party or Iran or Pakistan. And I know you're not supposed to say that, but I will. Who's calling ever the Chinese Communist Party, or Iran or Pakistan or any range of other countries hypocritical? You won't hear it. Why do you hear it? Is that because they're living up to some sort of standard of human equality and civic respect that we're missing out for here in the United States or in India or in Israel for that matter? No, it's not why. The reason is in order to be a hypocrite, you had to have the ideals in the first place. And that's the beauty of America, is it is a country where we do have ideals, but we're not a country of gods. We're a country made up of, just like India and every other country on this God's green earth, we're a country made up of human beings. So if you have a country founded on ideals and a country that's populated by human beings rather than gods, then you're always going to fall short of those ideals. By definition, that is what it means to have a country that has ideals and to be populated by human beings. You will always fall short of those ideals. But the beautiful thing about America is we're still the country where we're not built on perfection, but we are built on the pursuit of perfection, the pursuit of a more perfect union, the pursuit of liberty, equality, and justice for all. That's actually what it means to be an American. And so I think that many of us know that in our hearts. Many of us, parents' generation who chose to come here, many of us who were born as first-generation Americans, we know that more deeply than perhaps even my kids' generation or many other fellow Americans who may have inherited a country. There's something to be said for valuing a country that you chose to be a part of. And those of us whose families have made that journey, I think bear a special obligation to breathe that civic lifeblood back, to breathe that vision of the ideals of a country that if you're just inheriting it, you might naturally forget. But if you made the choice to actually come to, you see something about it that somebody who just inherited might have long forgotten. And I think there's one obligation that we share above all else to this country, either as immigrants or as first-generation Americans, and I think especially true in a certain way of Indian Americans who have seen what an anti-meritocratic, reservation, genetic identity-based system looks like somewhere else, to come to this country to say that, yes, this is the country founded on the unapologetic pursuit of excellence. Putting merit back into America, each of us bears the responsibility of doing that, not just by living the American dream ourselves, but by unapologetically embracing it as we raise our kids, as we become members of our communities, and hopefully we will ourselves play the role in breathing the merit and the American lifeblood back into America itself. So, Renu Auntie, Utsav, entire community, I'm so grateful for HinduACT and for all that you all do. I would love to have more of a conversation, but as best we can via Zoom, we'll end it at that for today. And as I said, my colleagues will be in touch for the part of our journey to the White House. That's not what's going on today, but we'll be in touch and look forward to following up with you, hopefully partnering with you. And as I say, it's not being done by us, it's being done through us. And part of being done through us, I mean, is in the sense of it's being done through us by God. But I view that even in this community as many of you are picking me up as well and putting me in the position to achieve hopefully what I'll be able to achieve in making my small contribution to this country as well. So
Thank you so much, Vivek.
thank you all.
Make me
I
proud.
appreciate it.
Wish you all
Thank
the
you.
best.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Vivek, thank you so much. You really gave us a lot to think about and reinvigorated so many of us. I think will agree with your powerful, poignant words and inspiring words. Thank you again. It's really an honor to have you with us this evening. And thank you for your contribution as well. Before we continue with our next guest, I would like to just mention a great thanks to everyone for your generous contributions, your donations to HinduACTion. I want to remind everyone here that HinduACTion is a 501c3 charitable organization. And I want to give a shout out to a thank you to Vivek, Shiva, Nirali, Bharat, Savita, Vandana, Nishkam, Pipender, Vinay, Sangita, Manalita, Usha, Ramya, Sanjeev, Anil, Raj, Ravi, and Vijay, all of you for donating. And there are several other names that we mentioned in the beginning of the program and throughout. And we are so grateful to all of you for your contributions. With that, I am now pleased to introduce to you our next two guests who happen to be personal friends and allies in this. And the first will be Paro Sarkar. She is a key member of HinduACTion's board of directors. Paro Sarkar's American journey started as a graduate student in pharmaceutical sciences. She embraces her dharmic roots from Calcutta, India, and karmic responsibilities as a citizen of the United States of America. Paro's voice and verbiage resonates most with children and women's rights. She is passionate about American Hindu engagement and nation building through grassroots activities while immersed in the pharmaceutical industry for over 25 years. Along with Paro is Richa Gautam. Richa is a member of HinduACTion's executive board. She is also a leading analyst on the issue of minority rights in Pakistan and diversity inclusion within the United States. Her web portal, castfiles.com, is a repository of detailed work on the issue of targeted Hinduphobia through the weaponization of caste discrimination across America. With that, I'm really looking forward, and I'm sure all of you are as well, to the presentation by Paro and Richa on Save Our Lost Daughters of Sindh. Amazing work these ladies have been doing to help young women in the Sindh region. I'll turn it over to both of you now.
You're on mute.
Paraji, you're on mute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, all right.
Namaste to you. Namaste to everybody. Really honored to be here. Paraji, the stage is yours.
Namaste, everyone. We are now going to talk about a very sobering topic. A little bit has been said before in the early part of our presentations. And this is a call to save our lost daughters of Sindh. And we have been promoting and talking about this on social media and various forums with our hashtag Save Our Daughters. Every year, more than 1,000 girls are kidnapped, raped, forcefully converted, and relegated to a life of bondage, trafficking, and erasure in Pakistan. The age of these girls vary anywhere between 6 and 16 years old. They belong to minority communities such as Hindus, Sikhs, and Christians. It is an ongoing tragedy that has manifested itself ever since the two countries came into existence. And even by rough estimates, we have over more than 75,000 girls who have been lost to this tragedy. There is a systematic and state-protected campaign in Pakistan to destroy minorities, and it is recognized by various human rights groups and organizations. In November 2021, a report published by United Kingdom's All-Party Parliamentary Group for Pakistani Minorities claimed that this practice is flourishing in Sindh and the Punjab provinces because of the many actors playing their part in keeping the practice alive. In 2022, Pakistan was labeled as a country of particular concern by the US State Department for the 5th straight year for its systematic, ongoing, and egregious violations of religious freedom against the minorities, including Hindus, Sikhs, Christians, Ahmadiyya Muslims, and Shia Muslims. Among the leading organizations.
Aruji, sorry to interrupt, but your deck is not visible.
I'm sorry. I thought I was sharing. Are you seeing? Okay. Give me 1 second. So I did hit, it's not allowing me to share for some reason. It's saying that there's a screen sharing has failed. Can you move up a few slides, Richaji? Okay. And in, so continuing, this atrocity in Pakistan has the support of well-established clerics and missionaries, Islamic missionary schools.
I'm sorry, Paraji, but there is not a single slide that is in focus. So if you can share the, the one slide that you're talking about, the one which is your talking point.
Do you see the slides?
Yes.
Are you able to see the slides? Okay.
Yes.
I don't know.
I think you
why
should
it
start from the
clicked.
first second.
Okay. Let me know if it goes away again, because it was initially showing that I was sharing. Okay. Still see it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. In December 2022, the British government sanctioned the head of the Barchundi Sharif Dargah, Abdul Haq, also known as Mia Mitun, and sanctioned the clerics associated with it. However, a similar action has not happened in America, and we must implore our State Department to take similar actions. Save Our Daughters also came to realize the harrowing experience of one particular girl who was snatched away from her family. Save Chanda Maharaj has become the global cry for the movement to shed light on the trafficking of minority girls in Pakistan. In August 2022, Chanda Maharaj, a 13-year-old Hindu girl, was forcefully abducted and while on her way back from home. Since then, her family and herself has been through a harrowing experience, and they have been let down by the Pakistani judiciary and legal system. The girl has been shuttled between her abductors and Safeway homes, but never returned to her family, even though there were several instances of hope that we had thought that would bring her back. This particular case has been highlighted by Rare Foundation and is now a global story and tragedy that people have become familiar with. Unfortunately, it is one of many. Headlines are not enough. These acts of abductions, rapes, and forced conversions must be recognized for what they truly are: a systematic ethnocide of Pakistani minorities. Even in 2022, the count continues to increase. These are only two little cases of a Christian girl and a Hindu girl have been lost to this tragedy. The crime doesn't stop just because we don't see it in front of our eyes. Let's make an effort to come together and have our lawmakers recognize these crimes against humanity and hold Pakistan accountable. For every dollar of aid that funnels into Pakistan is misdirected into the hands of clerics and other organizations that actually end up perpetuating this atrocity. So speak up. We have had a courageous US military mom, Mangaji from Virginia, actually confront the Pakistani ambassador at a meeting. We have had our representatives from HinduACTion speaking up at city councils. HinduACTion can empower you and provide you with the materials to also make a statement in your respective city councils. So please do get involved. Contact us for more information at HinduACTion.org. Donate. Every activism requires resources, time, and effort. And without your donations, we are unable to take this to a larger platform and get the recognition it needs. If nothing else, do follow us on social media, on Twitter, and on Instagram, and amplify our message and our voices. In addition to the work that HinduACTion is doing, I'm proud to hand over the next segment to Richa ji, and she'll talk about some of the more positive developments coming out of her efforts and organizations that are also partnering with HinduACTion. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Paroji. You brought so much poignancy to this whole issue, which it requires, you know. This is the issue that actually made me from an Indian American advocacy person to a Hindu American advocacy when the CAA law came about and, you know, there was so much protest. It just made us aware of how deeply inimical the Pakistani system is, the constitution, the feudalism there is towards its minorities, and how the downtrodden Hindu Dalit of Pakistan has never been able to rise up. India has had its Land Ceiling Act, it has had its ways of, you know, redeeming the extraction economy of the colonizers by providing reservation quotas to those who became downtrodden during the British colonizing. And today, Pakistan has not done anything for them. And that is why the Hindu Dalit of Pakistan suffers. And the story of this little girls of Pakistan is also built into this theocratic system that keeps its minorities on the fringes and does not allow them to participate, to ever become a prime minister or president or a strong elected leader of the government of that country. There are, you know, ways in which the minorities are persecuted through blasphemy laws, through, you know, overriding of Sharia on the Hindu marriages, and on also when the little girls are captured and they are converted to Muslim, they are not allowed to go back to their families because now that they are converted into Islam, they cannot go back to their families. We see this graph here, which shows how the population of the minorities and Hindus in Pakistan has declined from 1951, when it was in double digits, to now when it's at 1.6%. It clearly shows, as Paroji said, an ethnocide. Pakistan, as you know, I want to go to the next slide. And as Paroji said, we want to also bring in a positive story because we're doing a ton of things. Like HinduACTion is doing advocacy effort, bringing this information to our congressmen, to our senators, and letting them know about the egregious ways in which Pakistan is you know, it's persecuting its minorities. Paraji, is it possible to go to the next slide? So that, along with that, I am also executive director of CARES Global, an organization that I founded in order to help refugees who come out of Pakistan due to persecution. And also, you know, I have had the good fortune of engaging at the United Nations. And I think that is one thing that a lot of people did, you know, show interest. And I think HinduACTion and CARES Global are partnering to make sure that the advocacy on platforms like the European Parliament, like UN, like APPG in the UK, are become a common occurrence for us, and we bring our voice, because if we have to be in it to win it, we have to have a seat at the table in order for us not to be on the menu. So because of all these engagements, we have not really been very active at these platforms, and that I think is one of the reasons that we really need to ramp up that engagement. I want to take us to this collaborative effort, thank you, Bharatji, that HinduACTion and CARES Global have come together to create. As Pandit Satish Sharma pointed out, it is a global Kurukshetra. What is happening in Pakistan is also happening across the globe. You know, the little girls that are abducted in Pakistan, we know that the figure has been conservatively estimated at 3 girls every day. So about 1,000 girls every year are abducted, converted, and forever taken away from their family. Some of them get married to older men as their second or third wives. Some of them are prostituted and become sex slaves. This sad story also replicates in UK, where 20,000 girls are groomed every year by most of them Pakistani men who have migrated to the UK. In Turkey, last year in 2022, 327 spouses, wives were murdered by their husbands. And a lot of it could be the influence of the migration that happened from Syria and other Middle Eastern countries. In the backdrop of the Kerala story that is such a rage today and has made headlines and news and controversy even, it is important to look at hard statistics. India had 44 girls murdered by Muslim men claiming to be their love. In India, this is known as love jihad, and this term was coined in Kerala. Sweden has had rising number of rapes from about 500 rapes that used to happen about 10 or 15 years ago. In 2022, the number was 7,500 rapes. As we know, Canada, Natasha just pointed out that has written an article pointing out that Canada had multiple situations where Punjabi and North Indian girls are being groomed and trafficked and their lives are being spoiled. Though they come there for education, they never complete their education and they become part of these grooming gangs in Canada. We don't know what's going to happen in USA. These trends are global. So we have to be aware and bring documentation and collective advocacy, and which is what our group is doing on a platform called WAR, Women Against Radicalism and Rape. And all of us, the Women of Hindu Action, are part of this platform. I want to quickly talk about the engagement. The next slide, Paraji. So the UN engagement, I think I've covered it a little bit. And, you know, as we know, the networking, the collective activism that we need to bring at the UN, introducing maybe resolutions, you know, talking about caste and wokeism, you know, where that is where the genesis of many of these issues begins. And I attended events there which spoke about caste and, you know, about woke theories on gender. And, you know, I spoke on a panel for Pakistan where voicing human rights concerns there. The last slide I want to take us through is just a little bit about CARES Global, and where we partner with organizations in Pakistan to provide educational support, organizations in India, Africa, and North America to help refugees who come there after facing persecution in Pakistan or Bangladesh, helping them to settle and get asylum status, and bring succor and refuge and relief to these people. So not only that, I think to help counter the caste narrative through castefiles.com is one of our goals, but also to bring notice and deflect that negative energy that is directed towards a non-issue like caste in the United States. We need to bring focus to issues like the Pakistan persecution of its minorities and how this has become a global phenomenon as refugees and migration have become rampant. I want to congratulate Utsav Chakrabarti, Renuji, and all of our team for setting up an organization like HinduACTion. And I'm so proud to be part of it. And thank you everybody who has been donating and everybody who has helped to make this a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Richa ji, for that very, very informative and Well, I would say heart-wrenching information because, yes, our lost daughters of Sindh, how can we forget them? All right, so now what next? An inventor with multiple patents, a media analyst, and the host of the popular high-quality show, Pigaroos. Any guesses? Yes, you're right. None other than Sree Iyer. Sree Iyer is one of the most influential American Hindu media personalities. Welcome, sir. It's my honor and pleasure to welcome you and invite you here to speak on the platform of Hindu Action.
Namaskar, and thank you all. And a special shout out to Utsav, who has been tirelessly working to make this happen. I've had the honor and pleasure of having him come on my platform as a guest, and we have covered a lot of topics. And I'm hoping that Hindu Action goes on from here, from strength to strength, and starts acting in the best interests of all Hindus all over the world. I'm going to just talk about 3 things today. 5 minutes, I can only talk a little bit. So what are the 3 things that one thinks about when one thinks about Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma? First of all, it is the most scientific religion. I've done many videos now as to why the number 108 is so special in Hinduism, and viewers will understand why that is. Second of all, it can provide leadership to the whole world. You can find peace, your inner peace, your purpose in life, which is what Vivek Ramaswamy referred to. And this is a very, very important matter that is now really seizing our youth. They don't know what to do next. And by showing them the way, the eternal flow, which is Sanatana Dharma, translated in English, that we can really show them the path as to how they can find their inner peace, their inner potential of what they think they can do. And this is where Sanatana Dharma can provide a lot of leadership. Third of all, most important thing, yoga. Yoga is the biggest ambassador of Hinduism in the world. Yet many of us don't know the simple fact that the first yoga teacher was actually Lord Shiva. And his first 7 students were the Saptarishis. One of them happened to be Patanjali. Now, if you take a look at yoga, I'm going to show you a very small plate here. I think you can see it now. These are the 7 chakras in the body. And yoga helps you open these chakras. And when you see that these 7 chakras are also represented in many of our Agama temples. If you think of a temple, right? The temple is nothing but the Devata, the Murti that is in that temple, sleeping in a sleeping position. And where the Garbhagraha, where the actual Murti is where the head of the Devata is, and the feet are where the Dvajastambha is. And in every such temple, there are 7 chakras. As you move from one chakra to the other in the temple, you will start seeing the signs of this energy. So you see how somebody who's practicing yoga, which is 1 in 10 of all Americans today, is actually already a Hindu. And you can tell them that this is the concept behind this. And if we can at least take a little bit of time to understand what our great dharma is and spread it around, I think we can provide that little bit energy to give the leadership to the whole world, which is now really in the grip of some very radical thoughts. That's all I can say. And with this, I'd like to bring my talk to a close. Remember also that there is only one God, especially when your children come and ask us, how come people are saying that we worship this, we worship that, we worship here and there and so on. Actually, the truth is that Hinduism always saw only one God. And the name of that God is Parabrahma. And Parabrahma does not have a form. And this was understood by the rishis, but for the common person, they needed to show something that was like God to them. For a farmer, it was his bhumi. That is why the farmer does bhumi puja every time he starts sowing seeds. So this is how these different, gods came about. But at the end, it is just polymorphism. There's only one God. I hope I can help many of us here understand this is the simplest and most scientific religion. And I hope that we can go out and be ambassadors of this great dharma. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
So he is a Canadian broadcaster, editor, publisher, and he's the founder and CEO of Diya TV. So just like Sree Iyer, he's also very popular. And by the way, Sree Iyer ji, thank you so much for that fabulous speech. I would like to introduce Tahir Gora ji. Tahir Aslam Gora. He is a campaigner against the dangers of political Islam and the Muslim Brotherhood. He co-authored The Danger of Political Islam to Canada with a warning to America, exposing how the ideology of political Islam threatens countries and governments around the world. He calls himself a Hindu born in Muslim faith. He, as I said, one more time, founder and CEO of Diya TV. You must have enjoyed his shows and inspiring talks. Well, I always do, Tahir ji, and it's my honor, pleasure. Welcome to Hindu Action platform. We are really looking forward to your speech.
Thank you, Ms. Anjali. Thank you, Rino ji, Utsav ji, and the whole team of Hindu Action. I'm so happy to see Hindus in action. When we talk about American Hindu engagement in our society and its role in nation building, then we witness the Dharma flavor in our society, which is very humane in nature. Hindu ethos have been considered very cool in our North American culture. However, we are also witnessing rising Hindu phobia as Prime Minister Narendra Modi gained power since May 2014. The current movement of Hindu phobia has been orchestrated by unholy alliance of Islamic extremists and so-called leftists. In my opinion, there is no more classical left and right left anymore. The debate is all about rationality and irrationality. Our dharma is all about rationality. While born in political Pakistan, just 2 years before Pakistan's imposed war on India, I personally figured out in mid-70s, in my early teens, that my civilization is Sanatani. The revelation was brought to me through Saadat Hasan Manto, Krishan Chandra, and Rajendra Singh Bedi's short stories. Now I fully understand that I am a Hindu born in Muslim faith. Islam is a faith club or a faith family in which I was born. Hindu-ness is my identity, my life, everything. But faith club is like joining a Rotary club, not more than that. This is the case with every Muslim of subcontinent, whether they be Indian Muslims, Pakistani Muslims, Bangladeshi Muslims, Maldivian Muslims, Afghani Muslims, or subcontinent Muslims living anywhere in the world. Unfortunately, most do not recognize their Hindu-ness and they are caught up in severe identity crisis. So Islamists caught up in identity crisis are busy against their own Hindu ancestry. But I'm fortunate enough to get engaged myself in promoting on inclusive and pluralistic Americas that advocate and defend dharmic values globally. In that regard, I keep pressing on our Hindu diaspora organizations and their leadership that they should work on establishing our own media outlets in order to create our Hindu narrative across Americas. West mainstream media such as CNN, BBC paint Hindu Dharma negatively. We have to build our own Al Jazeera model TV that can counter Al Jazeera's propaganda and could present our own narrative forcefully. HinduACTion could take a lead in terms of creating our own kind of our own Al Jazeera. So let's take action in that regard. Thank you very much.
Our next guest, Mihir Meghani, requires no introduction. Mihir, please take it away.
Namaste. My name is Mihir Meghani, and many of you know that I am a board member for the Hindu American Foundation and also of the Hindu American Political Action Committee. I'm sorry I can't join all of you for this great gala of HinduACTion today, but I encourage all of you to support HinduACTion generously. As you know, Hindus and Hinduism are under siege in the United States and globally. And we have great challenges. HinduACTion has very, very good leaders that work collaboratively with other organizations. I'm proud to support HinduACTion financially and strategically, and I hope you will all do the same generously today, because the challenges are there for us to handle with the resources that we have as a community. But we can only do it with all of you contributing more than you may think you are capable of, and remembering that we're doing this not just for an organization and for our challenges today, but for the legacy of our 5,000-year-old civilization and for the challenges of future generations that will come after us. Namaste, and good luck with the rest of the event today.
Anjali ji, you should unmute yourself.
I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, Mihirji. Next, we have Sehun Kim, who is a geopolitical expert, and he specializes on the threats posed by Communist Party of China. He is also a long-term human rights advocate.
Thank you, everybody. Namaste. It's a huge honor to join this forum, this gala. First, I would like to say congratulations to my friend Utsav, whom I had the honor of working with all these months. As you may have seen in the introductory videos, I had the honor of organizing two major events with HinduACTion. One was the friendship accord between the Shia majority Hazaras and the greater Hindu community, along with a very close Rabbi Menken from the Coalition of Jewish Values. They're together at our Korean Center. Therefore, just essentially becoming a great model for the greater society, and letting them know that at the end of the day, we need to look at the good in people, and the great openness of the Hindu community, as well as the open qualities of the Hazara community, can become a true inspiration for the world. As one of the founders and the main coordinator of the Salam Shalom Hazara Working Group, we have had the great fortune of working with HinduACTion, not just in community engagement, but also in terms of our congressional briefing that we had just a few days ago. On our last congressional briefing, for the first time in history, we were able to use the words anti-Hindu sentiments in the halls of Congress, and just letting everyone know that there is a problem, a great problem that the Hindu community is facing, and really we also use this opportunity to know that the Hindu community wasn't alone. It wasn't alone and is no longer alone. But on a really greater scale, we were also able to recognize some of the wrongs that has been done, some very, very big wrongs that has been done in the past, particularly in the 1971 Bangladesh genocide, where so many have lost their lives. And up to this day, unfortunately, we weren't able to indicate who the perpetrators were very openly. Everyone sort of knew it, but everyone sort of did not know it at the same time. The Pakistani army, which was responsible for the mass rapes and tortures in 1971, essentially became responsible for the current ongoing genocide of the Hazara people in Afghanistan today. Along with that, they're involved with the forced conversions, kidnapping of folks of different faith within their own borders, and very, very more unfortunately so, Pakistan has also become a breeding ground for international international terrorism that we see in many parts of the world today. Now, why is this important for outsiders like us, particularly like myself, to care about? Well, it's very simple. The Sino-Wahhabi networks that has been rampant across the world, a very unholy marriage between Islamic extremists along with the Chinese Communist Party are at great work. And Pakistan, the Pakistani regime currently that's in power happens to be a great example of that. When, as you may have remember, when the Taliban came into power, one of the first things that they said was, our next target is Kashmir. So in that sense, I think it's time for all of us in the world, Hindus and non-Hindus, to join together to ensure that there is peace in Kashmir, and to help people in Kashmir to really realize that they're no longer alone either, whether they be Hindus or Muslims or Christians and Buddhists and whatnot. I've long-term argued that one of the quickest ways to regional peace in all of Asia is to really stand with the people of India. In India, that's one of the last great Hindu majority country that has a tremendous history of accepting everyone. Literally everyone from across the world, and we have the honor of listening to and really benefiting from the father of Miss Natasha, who really emphasized to me, which really stood out for this one thing, is that extremism never works, but when you're open, diversity comes naturally. And that's something that we should embrace as people together. Particularly working with the Hazaras, they have also inspired many of us, and particularly also myself, in this particular regard. They have became a major reason as to why Buddhism, Hinduism, Sikhism, Jainism, Christianity, and Judaism, to a certain point, was able to survive in Afghanistan until the fall, the very, very unfortunate fall of Afghanistan that we saw in the summer of 2021. But even if it's under the hands of the Taliban now, Afghanistan still has a remnant of this history left because of the Hazara people who many of them even said, we also recognize our Hindu past and Hindu heritage. And so that was very inspiring to see. But just to sort of wrap it up, you might be wondering why I, as a Korean American who's a Christian, by the way, for those who might be wondering, what is somebody like me doing in such an environment? Well, let me tell you something. I'm very proud to share that I personally have a direct link to India through my bloodline. About 2,000 years ago, there was a princess living in what we know as Ayodhya today in Uttar Pradesh. Some argue it's in Tamil Nadu, but whatever it may be, to me, it's the same Hindustan or same Bharat in my heart, where a princess called Queen Suriratna, Princess Suriratna, and her mother and father, and one night received this great revelation from I call them Bhagwan, or some very higher spiritual beings, who told them about a husband that was prepared for her in a very, very distant land. And so the sea coordinates and everything else was given to her and to her parents in the dream. And the next day, the legend says they put her on the ship in the Bay of Bengal and just let her sail across the ocean, and she ended up she ended up in what we know as the Korean Peninsula today. And one night before she arrived, the emperor at the time of the Southern Kingdom received this other revelation from this foreign higher spirit who appeared in his dream and said, "Go to this location in the beach the next morning, and your wife will be arriving on that ship." And so they went there, and by some miracle, I don't know to which extent the specifics might be true, but they instantly fell in love, and they had many children, and she became Queen Suriratna at this point. Became the first and the only recorded Indian empress in Korean history, and my family happens to be one of the last descendants living in the Korean Peninsula today. And so I would like to leave everyone with this: is that in a sense, as for myself, there is a Bharat, literal Bharat in me, but on a greater context, even if you're not, even if you don't share the same characters as I do in my family tree, I would like to let everyone know that in a sense, there is a Bharat in everybody, or there can be a Bharat in everybody, which is openness to greater societies of build up and being really transformed into a greater human being. And I say this as somebody who has immensely benefited from my great Hindu community members and friends, both from India, Nepal, even Pakistan and Bangladesh, which really showed me the meaning of hospitality and the meaning of just endless compassion towards your neighbors. And so just on a final note, please, I urge everyone to support HinduACTion, not just because of a lot of the advocacy that they're doing, but take my example as an example that you can take, which is that HinduACTion has become an organization which has promoted and really told the world that, look, Hindus matter. These are our values, and look how big our family is, which is non-Hindus and Hindus alike coming together and fighting for a cause, which is the cause of justice, the cause of equality, and finally, the cause of being proud Americans living in this amazing country, to be who we are, and to really to fight for our constitutional rights that has allowed us to be who we are today. So thank you so much. Bahut bahut dhanyavad. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Sehun Ji. That was such a beautiful speech, and in fact, we could feel your spiritual energy. It's really heartening to know that we all share such a rich cultural heritage. Thank you once again. And now I would like to introduce Ramya Ranganathan, who is a close friend and the founder director of a leading nonprofit organization, Bharat Heritage Organization, or BHO, that has been working tirelessly to project and to protect and persevere and propagate the Bharat heritage among the Indian diaspora. Let's hear Ramya, what else they have to offer.
Another unique offering of BHO is the Bharat Heritage Yatra. I'm very excited to bring this unique program to all of you today. BHO recognizes that every temple is unique, and their offerings they have towards the community is so diverse, yet they all exemplify unity in diversity in propagating our Sanatana Dharma. Traditions and culture value chains, which are the core essence of our Bharat heritage. Through this Bharat Heritage Yatra program, we work with the temples of USA to build a custom crafted tour that gives an educative and enriching experience of our Bharat culture and tradition, yet in a fun-filled way to our future generation kids. BHO showcases the USA's temple offerings through one unified portal, bhogl.org/heritage-yatra, for the community to get a bird's eye view of the various tours and help facilitate the tours as per the convenience and availability of the tourist.
Thank you so much, Ramya ji. And next we have Bhuvan ji, originally from Bhutan. He was forced out of Bhutan for being Hindu in 1990, spent approximately 18 years in a refugee camp in Nepal, resettled in the United States in 2009, and as a refugee, and now he became the first Bhutanese American to be elected to public office in the United States of America. Currently, he is a city council member of the city of Reynoldsburg.
Namaste. And thank you, HinduACTion group, for including me and giving this opportunity. So as mentioned, I'm a former refugee from Bhutan. So again, basically, we were forced out of our country because one of the main reasons was we were Hindu and we want to practice our dharma as it is by our ancestors. So Bhutan is known to outside world as a la-la land. Everything is perfect. Many, many people go there, happiest country in the world. Everything's been seen in the media. In reality, 1/6 of the population was forced out in the year 1990. Out of those population, 99% were Hindus. Bhutan is still ruled by the king, the Buddhist king, and there are still a lot of Hindus being not allowed to speak. But today, you can see there right now, when they are going to the mandir, they have to wear the dress of the king. They are no choice of wearing the dress of their choice when they go to the mandir, or whenever they do any kind of cultural or religious dharmic activities, it has to be done according to the Buddhist tradition. If they don't do, they will be prosecuted, they will be jailed, and they can do all kinds of things. So that is the situation. It is happening right now in that country. But you don't see anything in the media because it's completely controlled by the king and nothing come outside that country. So this needs to be spoken out. So there is also a significant number of Bhutanese Hindu community in the United States. So Bhutan is a very small country, very tiny, both in terms of size and in terms of population. There are still significant number of political prisoners in Bhutan. They are in the jail for last 30 years without any fair judicial hearing. So I would like to bring those things out here as a Hindu. I think we should work together to bring those people out of the jail and also do justice to the people who are still in the country called Bhutan. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Go ahead, Anjali.
All right. So that was Bhuvan ji. Thank you so much, Bhuvan ji. And he was our last speaker. But before we close, dear viewers and listeners, I really want to thank you all for coming and attending our gala. And thank you, Adele. Thank you so much for being my co-host. This gala has been a success because of you. You know, there's a saying, behind every successful man, there is a woman. And I would like to add that behind every noble cause, there is a silent voice and hidden hands of many noble souls like you. We can't do this without your support. Even a single dollar coming from this caring audience like you will make a huge difference towards preserving our civilization heritage. Let us all put our efforts, however minuscule it might appear, and let us build an inclusive society within an enlightened America. Namaskar. And now I would like to conclude with a prayer. So I will invite Divya ji and her daughter to please say the concluding prayer. Thank you so much, dear viewers.
Thank you, Anjali ji. Thank you, everyone. Because the event got a little longer, the little one is kind of sleepy. But I will end the prayer, and she's sitting in my lap right now. The concluding prayer, which is praying from infinity to finite, and then finite to infinity, and how everything becomes infinite in the end. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Also, I am reciting a Shanti mantra.
Om Dyo Shanti Rantariksh Gum Shanti Prithvi Shanti Rapah Shanti Roshadayah Shanti Vanaspatayah Shantir Vishvedevah Shanti Sama Shanti Redhi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
That was really, really beautiful. Thank you so much for that, Divyaji, and to your beautiful daughter. I now would like to reintroduce our executive director here. First of all, before I do so, I want to take a moment here and to thank a few more names. There's so many more coming in. For your generous and thoughtful donations to Hindu Action's Gala of 2023. Thank you, Rashna, Ramya, Navina, Shashi, Arun, Anil, Deepak, Mandyam, for your thoughtful donations today, and kindly make your very important generous donation to Hindu Action on hindu-action.org/donation. We are again a 501c3 charitable organization. And if you are writing a check, please make the check payable to Hindu Action and mail it to Hindu Action at P.O. Box 882, Westchester, Ohio 45071. A member of our team is happy to provide that information to you further if you wish to make a donation via check rather than online. I would now like to reintroduce our excellent executive director, Utsav Chakrabarti, to the screen. I know that several of you had asked some questions. They were addressed during the program. Anjali ji, thank you for your incredible hosting capabilities and for being such a wonderful ally of this very, very important cause that we're all committed to in the name of Dharma. And Utsav ji, I think that everyone has, it's late in all parts of the world, and I welcome you to close out the rest of the first historic Hindu Action Gala, which won't be the last.
Thank you, Adele, and namaste, everybody, once again. Thank you so much for staying with us. I still see there are quite a few people, about 50 of them out there who are with us in the audience. Thank you so much for being part of this long evening, but we hope that it was useful, and we thank you for supporting us. We really need your support. What you see happening, as all of our speakers pointed out, is very unique and different. We are being targeted across the country. And as you all know, if you don't have a seat at the table, then you are on the menu. So once again, support us, help us. And as you saw, as many of our speakers pointed out, we are a collaborative organization. We focus on filling in the gaps rather than trying to establish ourselves in places where there is already good work happening. So that is the whole purpose, whole strategy, whole agenda of our effort. And we really need your participation and your support. We are a 501c3, hindu-action.org/donate. Thank you. And if you have any questions, I'm here. Please type your questions and we will be happy to answer. I think Adele is going to moderate it. So
I think that it looks like, to be frank with you, most of the questions were answered. So what I will say is actually one very important question that is worth repeating outside of the ones that were answered online is Hindu Action as a 501c3 organization open to donations from anyone?
that is true. As you all know, 501c3 is tax exempted in the United States and Canada. So we look forward to your support, and you can go to our website, or as Adele pointed out, you can mail your check to us. you can write in the question and answer session. If you have any other thoughts, questions, if you have any pledges, we will be happy to work with you on that.
We have another very, very important question regarding the future of America's youth, securing American youth, STEM, that's science, technology, engineering, mathematics, yoga, meditation. How are you going to achieve this? Us meaning through Hindu Action. Securing
Hindu
America.
Action has a principled position in terms of doing outreach to inner city schools, especially youth below the age of 16, so that we can train them in a holistic system where science, technology, education, STEM education, and yoga and meditation can be together presented to them as a holistic solution to many of the issues they face. We ourselves will be happy to provide the towns and the cities where we are going to approach the elected officials for this purpose. But we are looking for partners, organizations that are good in providing these basic fundamentals and have an experience in doing so. And we will be happy to work together with them and partner with them in spreading it across America. So that is something that is important to us. It is important to us not just because we care about issues that are important to Hindus. It is important because if Americans are not happy, if America fails, we all fail. So it is important for us in this regard.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Another question coming in, is Hindu Action run by volunteers or paid staff?
Hindu Action is actually run by both volunteers and paid staff. Right now, we have 3 people who are working full-time. So they are paid staff, and it is important to have paid staff, because if you look at the world out there, the people who are targeting us have a far more, almost an exponentially higher capability than we do. So if we are only going to be WhatsApp warriors in the evenings and working on the weekends, no matter how well-intentioned and how knowledgeable and how effective we are just setting ourselves up for failure because of the logistics. So we need more paid staff, but that does not preclude the role of the volunteers, because what you see here today is all made possible by the many, many volunteers who are working here and who spends hours and hours and hours of work and their resources. To be honest with you, a lot of the people who volunteer for Hindu Action are also the donors to Hindu Action. So not only are they giving their resources in terms of donation, but they're spending immense amount of hours every day. And they are doing this because they care about the cause and they have faith in those whom they are donating to. So have faith in us, look at us, our records, and we won't fail you.
Thank you. We have another question coming in. One of our participants would like to know, do we have a Zelle or PayPal option for donations?
Actually, on that, I would have to invite Renuji to give a more detailed answer on that. So if the moderator could operator could bring in Renuji in the screen.
Yes, Namaskar. We have PayPal, which is active. You can go to HinduACTion.org. It is like a similar kind of PayPal, better service. So you can use your credit card and you can make a payment. Zelle, we don't have it because it's a 501c3. It doesn't allow us to Zelle as of right now. Okay, this is the updated information. We are 501c3 in America only right now. Okay, just to make it clarified.
So I would, in addition to, Surinderji, who asked that question about Zelle and PayPal, you can go to the website Hindu-Action right behind my head here, and you can click on the donate, and it's a very easy setup. It will be very useful to take a look at it.
Utsaji, I have a request. Can you make it open in case somebody wants to ask live questions? Because can you do it, or?
So operator, can you make the
cannot do it. He said
can the chat be open to everybody?
No, he cannot do it. Dave said he cannot do it. You can do it.
Okay, I think then I won't be able to do it either. I think we have to do a question. People couldn't write the questions and then I can answer.
Yeah, in the
They
Q&A
can
segment.
They can speak live in case they want to share their views.
Okay, if they want to share, then
We still have 60 people on the call.
please put your name. Please raise your hand, and I can give you the ability to talk. So I have somebody named Kirti Sharma. I'm going to bring you in. Oh, somebody really moved their hand down. So if you raise your hands, I can give you the ability to speak.
I have one. In the meantime, while we're bringing another individual up, there's a question from Arun. How can I get more involved?
Wonderful question. Yeah, we please, you know us. You can connect with us on Twitter. You can connect we have a phone number on our website, or you can just tell us where you are and text your phone number to us, and trust us. If we will get you. We are looking for volunteers. We are looking for people who have the passion and who have the knowledge, and we will be happy to work with you wherever you are in the United States.
Yeah, just give us the information in the chat. Yeah.
And I'd also like to stress that we really want anybody who's been part of this presentation, if you have young ones at home, we are looking for interns. And we want to train the next generation as well. So do think about that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bharat.
May I also add something very quickly? Sorry, I'm yes, as you can see, I've shifted locations, but I think we need to really remember that the work of Hindu Action is something that impacts everybody who can, everybody who really cares about ending discrimination, anybody who really cares about the right things being done in this country, where essentially everyone gets to live like who they are and who they want to be. And so I would, as an outsider, as a non-Hindu, I'm going to urge all of our non-Hindu friends who may be watching this that it's because of organizations like Hindu Action that we're able to really keep some of the rights that we've had all these years, because what they're asking for is very simple. You are, we have freedoms in this country. We have the freedom to be who we are, and we also have the right not to be targeted all the time. And so that's something that you should remember. And if anything, it would be great to see a lot more support from our non-Hindu communities to participate. I mean, look at the Hazara community, for example. Them, even though they're majority Shias who are Persian in culture, they have embraced the Hindu community because of a very simple reason, because they said tolerance is important and it's part of our faith, our culture, our identity, or whatever. Well, in a sense, that could be a reality for all of us, particularly as Americans. And so please just remember that when you're, if you're ever wondering, well, should I be involved? What if I'm not a Hindu? The word Hindu really also means, to me, it means that, well, doesn't matter what you believe, as long as you're willing to be respectful and be open. And the beautiful thing is, I haven't met a single Hindu in my life who actually told me to conform to their ways all the time, right? And that's a reality of the Hindu community in general. And as non-Hindus, that's something that in particular we need to recognize as well. I know this sort of turned into a little statement of mine, but that's something that we should probably, as non-Hindus, should remember and to utilize as much as we can. So thank you so much, everybody.
Actually, she's saying, you are not outsider. So just make it very clear to you, okay? Yeah. Thank you and welcome.
So we have a speaker, Sonal Ji. I have put your microphone on. Sonal Ji, I don't know if you can speak, but if you had your hand up, so after that we have Anil Gupta. Yeah, Sonal Ji, please.
So I'm just wondering, because I think because of all the attacks on Hindus, of course, there's a proliferation of organizations and people wanting to help. How, my concern a little bit is just how can we coordinate? I've followed Rajiv Malhotra, who was on earlier. And I remember one of the things, I can't remember what the specific issue was, but there were a number of Hindu organizations that sent in communications protesting something or another, but there was no coordination. And that's what I'm wondering, how can we better coordinate? So, we're at most 4 million, but frankly, a lot of people, may not be practicing Hindus of the 4 million. So the question is, how can we better coordinate so that when we attack, we have, not only, HinduACTion, Infinity Foundation, but we've got the Bal Vihars, we've got the, Chinmayas, all these places.
Very good question, Sonalji. A question that is often asked and needs to be answered very clearly. So this is what I would say. The coordination happens when there is intent. And I would speak for HinduACTion because I represent it. But I can tell you this much that there are major Hindu advocacy groups out there with whom we coordinate. And they are actually bigger than us, and they have been here longer than us. The coordination we do is at the leadership level. As you saw today, Mihir Meghani, who is the founder of Hindu American Foundation, made a donation appeal to us. It is possible because we worked with Hindu American Foundation and coordinated our efforts strategically on issues that they are also working on. You may have seen in our presentation that I gave in the beginning, and we will probably play at the end again after it's all over. We also work with KONA, which is another major American Hindu advocacy. So we are in the advocacy space, and there are these two major organizations with whom we participate. I go to their platforms, we talk, we discuss, we share our resources in terms of research. And there are places where we are not present, and we don't want to challenge and try to take away somebody else's resources from those places. So it's as a HinduACTion executive director, I can assure you that our intent is the main driver of the coordination and the collaboration. If you have the intent, we can make it happen, and we are making it happen, as you saw today. We also go on educational platforms as well. Like, you saw P Gurus coming and presenting here because we work with P Gurus. You saw Jaipur Dialogues coming and talk to us because we go on there. So this is about intent, and this is about effort. We will make all the efforts. There is a coordination team behind the scenes that works informally, but there could be occasions where it's not as good as we would have wanted it to be. But I can only speak on behalf of HinduACTion, and that would be my explanation. Renuji wanted to say.
Yeah, I want to add just very quickly, Sonalji. You spoke the culture of the HinduACTion. And when we started this only 5 months before, we are going to work with every organization in this country, and not only country, but beyond. One example, when Niraj Antani brought the condemnation of anti-Hindu phobia resolution, we received an email from Hindu American Foundation, okay, because they have a voter voice software, and they told us to send the messages to our lawmakers in the state. So without saying that, we thanked them first, and then we went to their platform and communicated with our lawmakers. So, we will do it, we are doing it, and we are going to do it bigger way. Just come with us. Thank you.
And similarly, in Washington, D.C., for example, there are organizations that were here very strongly before, but they had to pull out and focus on other stuff. We cannot leave the Washington, D.C. space empty because, as Sehun pointed out, as most of us pointed out, we are under attack, have no doubt about it. And Washington, D.C. is a critically important place. So we stepped up, we do the best we can with the resources we can, and we promise you that a year from now, you will see us in a different role. I think there are two more hands out there, Anil Gupta and Jay Palodji.
Sounds good.
So I'm going to put Anilji, I unmuted you, if you could speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, yes.
So this is Anita Anil Gupta, and I have just a quick question here. I am from Indiana, and we are just traveling to Boston here, where my daughter was joining us here for dinner. She's graduating. So she got chance to hear some part of the discussion here. she's more interested if she can be provided the link, recorded link, and she can hear and see and watch whole conversation here, because she was building up some thoughts also, since she does not know any details about this. So she's requesting if we can get a link to provide it, the recorded link of today's program.
Absolutely. So if you go to our YouTube page, HinduACTion YouTube page, this was also broadcast live there. So she can also go back and see it there, because it will be there on our page.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, another question is Anil here, I think. How you do the middle school and high school, like bullying for Hindu, people don't take their lunch at home, at the school, or they have to go through a lot of thought process in the middle school, high school. How we are going to address, but it's first of all, congratulate actually bringing this platform. And Renuji, I know, is very close to us too, and she brought us, and a lot of us also joined this, and we will also contribute as and when possible. But I'm saying, how do we address the middle school, high school, our children faces the issues being Hindu and not being treated equally sometimes?
Very good question. I think that happens quite often. So there are two ways we can do it. In Boston, if there is a local Hindu organization that is already active on it, we will be happy to connect you with them if we are not able to handle it. There are places like that where there is Hindu Students Council, where there are organizations that can directly get involved at the city level. If that is not possible, we will take upon ourselves the responsibility, after understanding the issue and providing a solution that is in a written, like a report form, that can be a pathway towards how to counter it, whether it involves political or elected official role in it, whether it requires activism, whether it requires protests, or whether it requires mere education. And we will be happy to do it as needed. Most importantly, we will be happy to empower you with whatever resources we have to address it as a parent.
Okay, I think sounds good. I appreciate.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think Vijay Palodji is next. Sonalji, I see your hand up again. I will come back to you again in a minute after I have Vijayji and Lakshmanji speak. They have raised their hand for a while. Namaste, Vijayji.
Utsavji and Renuji, namaste. And I'm very impressed what you're doing. The part I like about what you said was, we have so many Hindu organizations, but you do not have proper coordination. And since it's a new entity, I was concerned that this might be one more entity I need to support. But after speaking to you, I feel very comfortable. What you'll be doing is the right thing to do. And I'll just say that I had plans to give only $5,000, but I'm increasing my donation from $5,000 to $10,000. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'm done.
Actually, Vijayji, you are the one of the pioneer in the Hindu advocacy. So we are really blessed to have us with us. And yes, we'll assure you that we'll be coordinating with everybody, every organization, every individual. Thank you so much.
Dhanyavad.
So we have Lakshmanji next. Lakshmanji, I'm going to unmute you.
हाँ जी, सबको प्रणाम, राम राम सा. मैं डॉक्टर लक्ष्मण प्रजापति बोल रहा हूँ. I want to say only few words to all of you. आपके अंदर I see the power of the satya and truth, and the other part is running on untruth, falsehood, and all the stuff. So we need only little power. All the frustration should be put aside, because we are on satya path. So we need this much energy, and the satya Bhagwan will support us. Satyanarayana Bhagwan will support us. Also, Renuji knows me, and I'm supporting, or Kohana, and some others. And I had a question about Chakrabarti ji from the Jyotiba Phule Ambedkar Phule Network of American Dalits. So I was in one of the meetings. I supported them immediately. They were very happy. So if you did not know them, please include them under your umbrella. Otherwise, या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्ति रूपेण सांसिताम नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः. आप सभी को बहुत बहुत साधुवाद प्रणाम है, जो अपने लाइफ को रिस्क लेके सारा काम कर रहे हैं. we will be with you. जैसे बड़े भाई साहब दूसरे भाई साहब ने बोला, we are with you all the time, and we will support you as needed.
Namaste. Thank you, Lakshmanji. I just wanted to say that I'm already in touch with one of their leaders. Their job is cut out for them. It's a very strategic role that they are playing. It is not important that we show and meet them publicly, because it affects them negatively when somebody with my name shows up with them. But I can assure you that I coordinate with at least one of their leader on a weekly basis.
Wonderful, wonderful. And one of my requests to all of the Dharma Yodha is that please eat sattvic food according to your prakriti and stay heart healthy, so we can fight this Ranuji, so we can fight this thing for 100 to 125 each of us. So we have to stay healthy for that. So in any case, I'm an interventional cardiologist. Anytime we need a talk or anything about that, I'm available anytime.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
So we have after Lakshmanji, we had another hand. They have Arun Ayagiri. I'm going to unmute you, Arunji. Arunji, just raise your hand. Yeah, I can unmute you then. Yeah, thank you.
Hello. Hi.
Yes, please.
Hi. My name is Arun. I'm in New Jersey. I know Adele for some time. Thank you very much. To be very honest, I planned on being in this call for about half hour just to see what's cooking, but then I'm here until the end. So thank you very much. I'm a pilot and a lieutenant in the U.S. Air Force. I teach rocket science and aerospace, and I editor, write articles on foreign policy. I'm also editor. I'm also a teacher. Substitute teacher in middle school and high school. Someone was speaking about middle school before. I teach social studies, history, math. So thank you very much. You guys did a wonderful job. I posted a couple of comments while you guys were discussing as well, just for the benefit of others. So great, very fortunate to associate with you guys. I was about to ask how to contact, but I think we have you, Utsavji, you and I think are in many common groups. I was able to secretively steal your number from that group. I will message you and we'll get this going. Renuji, everybody else, Adele, and there was another host, did a wonderful job. Please continue this job. The least we could do is at least give words of appreciation. If we cannot even do that, then shame on us. So thank you very much for all the wonderful job. Keep it up. I will be with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Arunji's expertise can bring a lot to HinduACTion. His military background and especially middle school teacher. So I think you have offered yourself a lot. Okay, I can tell you that.
I also
stay connected with you.
Yeah, absolutely. On the side, I also train candidates running for office. I train them on constitution, elections, how to win elections. I'm a campaign strategist, and I do I'll do other things on the side as well. But yeah,
we'll work with you. Thank you. Yeah,
definitely. Thank you.
So we have Ramji first, and then Bipinderji. So I'm gonna Ramji, I'm gonna unmute you. Ramji, you can, the person with the name Ram, please speak. Feel free to speak.
Okay. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Ram Kakkar. Of course, I like this HinduACTion. What you are doing is, and again, some of the questioners, they have also told there should be coordination and some of the other. I'm in California. I like to point out that some action should be taken on the educational level. This is like universities even. My children went to Berkeley and the other UCI, and I see the books on, because some of the topics they have to pass at the graduate level on Hindu Dharma, Hinduism. And as you know, they will try to sell the books or the teaching which is altogether not true. And the children, when they attend those particular courses, they have to finish it. The courses which the books, I cannot imagine. They paid $200 for the books, for the book like Ramayana, Mahabharata. And I happen to see those books. Half the books are untrue, half the information. And unfortunately, the question answer, it must be replied to in that particular, as per this instruction in this book. And they are written by those professors. And you know, they are all written by some Christians or Western people. And they do not know about Veda, about all the reality, spirituality. And they just had pointed out, just you can say anything, they try to put it in the sexual way and all that one without knowing that they are coming from Veda and since long. And that's what when I happen to see, say, trash these books. And we cannot trash it, we have to reply as per this one. So, of course, I have been telling to forget, you have to pause it, and then you go the reality, what is there, whatever this one. But I have been reading in the beginning, I know it, we can tell it, but I am suggesting that good knowledge should pass on to Americans. When they read it, they think this Hinduism based on all the sexual things and all those kind of things. And you know, some of the authors who have been writing, and they have been banned in the recent administration in India, those books are banned. But HinduACT should do. Unfortunately, our lawmakers over here, somehow they have not been able to control in the school level or in the university level. Some action should be taken in this direction also.
Yes.
Some of the organizations are doing it. They have done it. I mean, I personally also got involved, could not get it, but we always, as far as I am concerned, I always get in touch with the state lawmakers. I put them right on the point. Until you answer me, I'm not going to leave. I am going to cut you off time and again. So they do not know the reality, and they cannot just hold me. But this is the reality happening. It's happening in California, must be happening in other.
You bring a very important point, which you're already working on it. I really appreciate that. And also, like you said, that half and other people have done in the past. But this work requires a lot of money, because we have to have a whole team of academics and also the research, so that they can produce very authentic material. So really, we will take up this project in the future. Okay, but right now, if anybody is working in this area, will help. What's up? What do you think?
I suggested to Hindu University of America. I paid them good donation.
Okay.
They do it, but unfortunately, they are not doing in this direction at all.
Definitely, we'll talk to them.
So Ramji, I will say this to you. The reason why this is not happening successfully is not because there is lack of education at this point of time in these universities and campuses. The reason there is no proper books and proper discourse on it is because there is lack of political will. In fact, the political will and the pressure is in the other direction. So there is more increased Hindu phobia right now than what you would like to fix. So fixing the curriculum is completely dependent in a political process rather than an academic process. And we are trying to address that political process and the elected officials' narrative first. Because in the past, we have seen that it is not the lack of information that is causing this distortion. It is the lack of desire to address Hindus as equals. That is the cause of this problem. So, Ramji, we are going to address it from that socio-political angle, because there is an immense amount of material already out there in the academic discourse that they can easily call upon to fix it. They don't fix it because they don't want to fix it, and we want to fix that.
Absolutely. I want to add
the time, Adele. I don't know how many questions we have.
So we need to ask questions. We need to get Bipinder ji a chance to speak, because Bipinder ji has been raising his hand.
Yes, and then after Bipinder ji, we're going to go to Vijay Paloji, okay?
Oh, Vijay ji has his hands raised again.
He did. He's had his hand raised for a little while, actually.
Okay.
And I think we can also stop recording at this point.
I did.
wonderful.
I stopped the broadcasting. I'm going to stop the recording as well.
Wonderful. So if it's okay,
Recording stopped.
Right, yeah.
Great.
So Bipinderji, please go ahead, please.
You can go back to Vijayapur and come back later when we
No, I asked him to unmute.
Let me see.
yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much again. You guys are doing a lot of work. I think that ills which have been caused by the centuries cannot be corrected in a short period of time. And also now I think is with digital world, things are happening. People are doing their part and they are becoming aware. Like Niraj Atri was very instrumental in making the point about changing the NCERT books in India. So I think that it will happen, and only one request to all, that some people can speak, they should speak. If they can donate, they should donate. And if they can donate their labor and time, they should do that. But inaction is not the solution for this problem. Thank you again, and I wish you luck. And I generally do my part here in Columbus, and I will continue to do that, especially in the direction of Renuji.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I still see the I think Adele, Lakshmanji, and
I think Vinod. Yeah, sorry, I'm Vijay.
Time, if anybody has a new question,
we can talk offline.
Yeah, we can talk offline also. Like, whatever.
No, I think they have put their hand down, so we are kind of good now.
Right.
So I think this is Adele. Back to you.
Great. I think that I want to just thank everyone for taking the time to join us, for your generous contributions, and for believing in what we are seeking to accomplish here with your help. And thank you to Renuji, to Utsavji, to our wonderful hosts, and to the organization. And I think what I'll do is now just going to allow for Utsavji, to you and Renuji, to close out the event. And we look forward, from my part, I want to say namaste, and I look forward to seeing everyone here for our many, many more future events in person and virtually. So
Actually, Utsav, before you close, one thing I think we can write down our email. Okay, Utsav, your email. So anybody has any question, they can email to you. Okay. And then we have everybody's phone numbers or contact. So if we'll contact them. We'll send a feedback also to everybody, all the people who attended today's gala. It was very successful. It was long, but it was very successful. Shows a lot of passion. But thank you so much. Looking forward to work together with everybody. What's up? You can close.
Thank you, everybody. And in case you have any questions, please do call or text to 202-838-6655. This is our office number, 202-838-6655. You can call or leave a text message, and we will get back to you. Thank you so much. Namaste and good evening.
Namaste, everybody. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukh bhag bhavet. This is the message of Hindus everywhere. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaskar. Good night.